Howdy.
Howdy.
Morning.
Well, good morning, Felipe.
When you heading down?
Lunch.
Nice.
Probably by noon. Probably get there by 6. We'll stop a couple times. Wife needs a stretch. Is there anything that I need to know? Or does Felipe?
Felipe can get you on the air. If you need me, just call me. I'll be up.
But I mean, just like on that screen there, like to be able to see whether it's text or Twitch.
You should be able to, anytime you're on this, you should be able to see all the comments.
Okay. Is there like passwords or anything I need to know?
I will write down the one for the text line.
Okay.
Probably should pull that up.
Is the icon to click on obvious, or is it just the internet icon?
For the text line?
Yeah.
They all, when you go on to Google Chrome, you'll see the text line. It's TXT 180.
Okay.
That's the only thing they're all on like the homepage when you go on to Google Chrome. It's all right. Everything that I use is right there.
Okay.
Should have made Felipe do it one more time this morning.
I also have this book right here. Remember?
From what I did before?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do it. Don't worry.
Felipe, I'm going to ask you some NBA trivia.
Woohoo! I love me some NBA trivia.
Now remember, can't take forever when you answer. We're on the air. We're not sitting around at a restaurant.
It's ball 4 was Jim. Is it Bouton?
Bouton. Jim Bouton.
Want to make sure I said it right. Today's his birthday. He's dead, but today's his birthday.
What's ball? What do you mean?
He wrote a book called Ball 4. It's a
historic book. It was the first time, along with Jerry Kramer, who the legendary Packers guard. They were the two guys at around the same time that wrote behind the scenes books. Bouton wrote it about the Yankees and the legendary Yankees and stories, and no one had ever told stories out of school before. It's a legendary book. He was basically blackballed by baseball.
That's cool. When did it come out?
71 to early 70s.
Gotta ask my grandpa about it. He loves reading and he loves baseball.
He hasn't given the book for Christmas.
I got you.
There are hysterical stories in it. He tells a story about drinking late night, Billy, Mickey, running around on hotel roofs. Golly.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. It is a hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Hope your week is going well. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. Mark is fired up today, or at least he should be, because for him, it's Friday.
Oh, I'm fired up. And Thursday started a little early, Ed, if you know what I'm saying.
Ooh.
Oh, ready to go. Ready for this day to just keep right on moving along. It feels like a Friday. It is a Friday for me. So you can all enjoy your hump day. I'm taking a couple of days off after today.
Not only that, the wife gets back tomorrow from being gone. So he basically gets to go play golf and hand over the 8-year-old and say, I did my shift. You do yours.
She's alive. Did everything I was supposed to do.
She was fed. She's clean. We didn't have an ER visit. She went to school every day.
Did her
Welcome
homework.
Tell you what, if you really want to be nice, have the laundry done. Then I'll tell you.
You know what's funny is I'm not really allowed.
Oh, okay. Hey, listen, it's that way in this house. I'm the laundry guy. It just drives me nuts how she does it. Absolutely nuts.
Well, I am one of those who will leave the clothes in the dryer for somewhere between 20 minutes and 4 days.
Right. So the wrinkles are permanent.
And
Right.
that right there is enough. That not only leave it in and then occasionally leave it in the washer overnight. So there's been a couple incidents in which the wife has just told me to stay out of that room. And I'm fine with that because I handle most everything else in our house. So no, actually, David, I'll leave the laundry.
The list of things that I do not do well is long. My wife's list, the big two: cannot load a dishwasher properly. Don't get on my case. There is a proper way to do it, and there's an improper way. All right. My wife can have the biggest dishwasher in the world. It can somehow load it so that only 5 things can fit in it. All right. And can't do the laundry. I'm telling you, it's really simple. The temperature with the certain colored clothing and what gets bleached and what doesn't and what have you. Nope, just didn't get the memo. She doesn't understand it. Therefore, those responsibilities were very early on taken away. So and that's why I don't care that she doesn't cook. Just as long as, and I mean, first off, that's why we don't have many dishes. Okay. I mean, it could take 3 weeks to load our dishwasher. I mean, in terms of before we're going to run it. And, just stay away from the clothes and we're good. So there's some behind the scenes.
Now that we've got the chores done, let's move on with the show.
Okay. Whatever. 5 NCAA tournament bids given away last night or earned last night, although one of them was by default. Might have been the game of the night. But I love the small conference tournaments. Sometimes you get a blowout. You get the Cinderella makes a run to the final. They got absolutely nothing left in the tank, and they get goat rodeoed. All right. And then sometimes you got the heavy favorite who has got all the pressure in the world on them because they've won 412 games this year. But if they don't win one more, they ain't going to the dance. Love it. By the way, Shelby, Mast in our bonus hour as the major conference tournaments. ACC got underway yesterday, but a lot of the big boys, Big East, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, all underway beginning today.
And I'm curious what Shelby thinks with so many of these bubble teams being big conference teams that are probably playing today, what they have to do to earn their bids or what they will do to lose their bids. Because according to Shelby, there's only a handful of bids left and quite a few teams vying for them.
The good thing is, Mark, there's been very few bracket busters so far. There's been very few, so-and-so won that conference, therefore they're going to have to put 2 teams in from that conference instead of 1. So, anyway, a lot of NFL going on yesterday. The number, by the way, was 6. You needed to take the over 4.5 as to how many tags would be administered. At the end of the day, the number was 6. That's it, by the way. 32 teams, they each get a tag. Only 6 of them used it. Apparently, the Eagles haven't used one in, I don't know, since Andy Reid was there.
Well, since they really changed the rules around when there used to be the multiple tags you could use, and there was every team seemingly using at least one. Since the transition tag went away,
right,
and they've changed the format a little bit, the teams have not used them nearly as much as they used to.
But 3 of the 6 tags went to running backs. And I have to admit, if you've got a really good running back, does 10 million sound outrageous? So I don't think it does. It's one of the reasons why I thought we would go over 4.5. because I thought 2 running backs at least would get tagged.
And I like Dallas making the move of tagging Pollard, coming off the injury. Good for him to get paid.
Well, and I think Dallas's intent, just like I believe the Giants' intent, is to actually negotiate a multi-year deal. But they tagged him to keep him for now. He's their property. He can't go anywhere. All right. Now, since you can't go anywhere, let's work out a deal. And by the way, we can lower your cap hit for this year because right now with the tag, when the new year starts on March 15th, unless those teams work out a deal, Pollard, Saquon, Josh Jacobs, they count 10.1 million. So there's still some motivation in the next 7 days to get a long-term deal done because you could lower the cap hit. Every team has to be cap compliant a week from today at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. That's why guys are getting cut. And guys are getting cut.
Pat's line, it's the 3 R's. Resign, restructure, and release.
Right. And Zeke Elliott might be 2 of the 3. I mean, who knows? Because right now he's counting almost $17 million against the cap this year. That would seem to be a lot of money to spend at the running back position.
Especially in 2023.
Right.
1976, if there was a cap, that might be the way you'd want to go.
The other interesting thing, just to spend another moment on that team, is, Dak's cap hit this year is almost 50. That's not what he's getting paid, but the way they structured it, his cap hit this year is 49 and change. Normally, when someone's cap hit is that much of a pain in the butt and he's your quarterback, what do teams do? They say, hey, let's sit down and rework this contract. And then usually what they do is they write him a check. Here's 10, 15, 20 million cash. We'll lower your thing and, kind of just stretch it and maybe extend you. Yeah, the Cowboys have been pretty public on, no, we're good with Dak. Which, if you think about it, kind of seems to make this year, Mark, maybe the year that determines whether or not Dak Prescott is going to be a Cowboy for life, if you know what I mean. They fired the offensive coordinator. McCarthy said, basically, I'll make him a better quarterback. I'll cut down on the interceptions. Jerry said, no, we're not going to rework the contract. We're good as it is. Basically, we don't want to extend it in any way. I don't want to take any more money out of my pocket for Dak. Thank you. So, what's hit the road in Dallas, I believe, for the head coach, quarterback, maybe the former star running back. It's funny how quickly the clock moves in the NFL sometimes, Mark, doesn't it?
David, you are so correct. And you think in terms, just we're at spring training right now, these baseball players getting long 12, 13-year deals that take them into their 40s. And it seems that Dak just got a deal.
Right.
And here we are going,
we could be done.
He better have a good year this year or it could be the end of Dak in Dallas.
Right. Or we'll go have to find another one. Yep. And then there is Lamar. And we don't mean Kendrick Lamar. This is fascinating. I'll ask you a question, Mark. Very simply.
Did he just really say we don't mean Kendrick Lamar?
Look
at you. Look at you at 6:11 in the morning. I am impressed.
Culture.
Desperately trying to hold on to what very little street cred we have left.
Well, you got some from me today.
Okay.
Same.
All right.
Nice one.
Thank you. See, if Felipe goes, I could stay awake another 10 minutes.
He woke up for that. I mean,
exactly.
He sprung right up out of his all eyes were glazed over, and you went Kendrick Lamar, and he said, "Did Moulton go Kendrick Lamar?"
Well, I have to admit, I kind of tipped, our hand. I teased Felipe right before the show, saying we're going to have an NBA trivia moment during the starting 5, and he was like, "Huh?" So I thought with that, Mark, I had a chance of keeping him awake at least for the 6 o'clock hour. Probably should have saved Kendrick Lamar early for the 7 o'clock hour. All right. I'm shooting too many bullets here too early in the show to keep Felipe awake into the 7 o'clock hour. But
Don't run out of ammo, David.
exactly, I know, and I feel like the Knicks in the second half last night, running out of steam already. So, Mark, it's a very simple question. So Lamar Jackson was tagged, which means his number's 32 and change. So you can make an offer for Lamar. And there's not one team in the league that is interested in making Lamar Jackson an offer. Do you believe collusion is in play? Yes or no?
100%.
Gonna say
They are putting a stop to the Deshaun Watson contract right now.
Exactly. I can't agree more. Because the Saints, Falcons, and Browns were all in on Deshaun Watson, who hadn't played for a year and had 24 women accusing him of improprieties. And 3 teams were all in on Deshaun Watson. Lamar Jackson, 26 years of age, nobody's interested.
Nope. All because he wants a deal like Deshaun Watson.
Right.
Not like you want a league MVP or anything.
Right. No one's interested. Nope. Not even to make an offer. Lamar Jackson, why would I want him? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
What I am about to say is a joke. But it almost feels racist, the fact that they're paying Daniel Jones that much more than Lamar Jackson. I mean, what the hell? His career winning percentage is under 50%. Lamar's is like 73.
Well, I will say this. If you had the head coaches that Daniel Jones had his first 3 years, your winning percentage would suck too.
Yeah, I suppose.
If you had Dave Gettleman putting the talent around you and Joe Judge as your head coach, you tell me what your winning percentage would be.
That's fair. That's fair enough. Well, we're talking about Lamar Jackson here.
Oh, hey.
One of the most Showtime players of all time.
We'll say, though, it is an issue. You know, he's missed the last, 6 games each of the last 2 seasons.
It's true.
That's a problem.
That is a legitimate concern. He is a little injury prone.
First 3 years he was fine. He was fine for 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then now he's gotten hurt twice. Lamar rolled the dice. Remember, Ravens put $250 in front of him before opening day, guaranteed like 140 of it. Lamar said no.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, DC, it's not just the 2 first-round picks. You have to sign them.
I just like the list of teams that aren't even interested.
They could not come out fast enough, by the way. 4:01 p.m. All right, send out the "We're not interested in Lamar" release. One of the NFL reporters reported that he tweeted out the Falcons are not going to make an offer for Lamar, and the Falcons retweeted it. No, RCB, nobody gets an all-guaranteed contract. Kirk Cousins and Deshaun Watson. And Cousins' contracts have never been more than 3 years.
Well
Nice.
played, Brian.
Very nice, Brian. Well played, sir. I love how the Giants reportedly they signed him to 4 for 160, $82 million guaranteed, yet his cap hit this year somehow is only $18 million. I hate how the NFL does that. I much prefer how hockey does it.
You mean if you make $18 million, it's $18 million on the cap?
It's very easy to understand. They sign somebody to a contract. It's got a certain AAV. That's what it counts every year. It's easy for a fan to understand. No, I think there's little to no chance that Lamar goes to Houston.
$30 seconds.
Lamar's looking to get paid. I don't think Lamar would care where.
Oh, he'd look so good in a Dolphins jersey. But I digress. We're coming back.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour, top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Starting 5 in a little less than 20 minutes. That's when we'll ask Felipe the trivia question of the day. Let me ask you this. It's a simple question. You may want to, as a parting gift before you're done for the week, consider it as a poll question. I'm just saying. If you're the Dolphins, who do you want to be your quarterback next year, Lamar or Tua? Because it wouldn't just be for next year, by the way. Remember, Dolphins have yet to pick up the 5th-year option on Tua. They've got 2 more months. They're obviously thinking about it because otherwise they would have done it. It's real easy to do.
Neither of them can stay healthy.
Well,
You're having me pick between two quarterbacks. I would pick Lamar.
okay.
He's better. He's played a little longer. I've seen the body of work, and I like it better. But neither of them stay healthy.
Now, remember, Tua costs you a lot less money. You got him for year 4 this coming year on his rookie deal, which I believe is like, I don't know, $8 million. And then his 5th-year option, I think, is 22 and change. So, Tua for the next 2 years, about $30 million. You got to give up stuff for Lamar. You don't even have a first rounder to give up this year. You'd have to give up your second rounder this year and probably your first rounder next year to have Baltimore accept the trade. And then you got to sign Lamar. So Lamar is going to cost you a lot more than Tua. Okay, but we know Lamar can play. He's just gotten hurt the last 2 years. Some still doubt whether or not Tua can play. We definitely have doubts as to his health and his future career right now.
Well, the Ravens want 2 first-rounders, correct?
Well, no, that's that's what they get if
that's
this transition.
You can accept less, though. Okay. And remember, the Dolphins don't have a first rounder in this year's draft. So my guess is the best they could do is a second rounder this year and a first rounder next year.
If you're the Ravens, can you accept Tua? Like, can you make that trade?
I think you could. That's interesting, actually.
Tua and a first rounder and a couple other things for Lamar Jackson?
But remember, if you're the Dolphins, you got to pay them. And that's at least, I don't care how you structure this contract, it's going to add 15, 20 million to your cap hit this year. Guaranteed. Could, if you don't want to get fancy restructuring it, cost you 30, 40 million on your cap this year. And you're cutting Byron Jones just to get to the cap.
But it could be done.
It could. Hey, you want somebody, it can be done. It's the NFL salary cap, man. It's flexible. Stephen Ross, how much money you want to reach into your pocket and dole out in signing bonuses? You could restructure 19 contracts if you want. You could do this. You're 83. What the heck? Can't take it with you.
If I put an over-under on Tua's games played at 11.5, what would you take?
I'd take over. I would.
Would you take over on Lamar for 11.5?
I would. What are
Because
the odds?
One of them will be under next year.
What are the odds 3 years in a row for Lamar? That's what I would roll the dice on. Got to admit, no one's talking about this. I would like to examine Lamar's knee, though. When he had not played for 5 weeks and we were coming up on the playoff game, and then he takes to Twitter 72 hours before the game and says, my knee is still not stable. I'm sorry. I need to have my team doc take a look at that knee then. What are we looking at here? Because Ryan Tannehill had an unstable knee, and the Dolphins didn't do surgery. And he just tried to rest it and rehab it. And then he went to training camp and blew it out. So I would like to take a look at that knee. Got to be honest. Just like if I'm the Ravens. I'm sorry, you want how much guaranteed money? I need to take a look at this knee again. If you don't mind.
By the way, I think Lamar would get 75% on that poll question. I'm not opposed to putting it up.
Now, the hope is that people, when answering the question, would realize Lamar would cost a lot more, not just salary, but picks. I mean, Tua is the far more inexpensive quarterback. No picks, far less salary. But, I mean, they are of similar age. I mean, Lamar's 26 this year. I mean, what's Tua's entering year 4 has got to be, 25?
There's also the fact that Tua and McDaniel have built this relationship that
Yeah, I want the guy that's more talented. McDaniel can build a relationship with Lamar Jackson. If he's, that's the
Well,
least of my
I mean,
concerns.
obviously Lamar Jackson is better than Tua, but what quarterback is better in that system?
Well, is he better than Tua? That's just it.
Oh no,
Okay.
he is.
The Dolphin system is a quarterback 8 yards behind center. All right. That is the one part of Lamar's game in which people still wonder, is he a Super Bowl winning quarterback 8 yards behind center? Now, I definitely think he can win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson. But
the Dolphins, this is all radio talk show because the Dolphins could not come out quickly enough and say they were not interested in Lamar.
No, Mark, who the heck would be interested in Lamar Jackson?
Dolphins want nothing to do with him, as do the Falcons. Said the same thing. Carolina doesn't want anything to do with him.
And I mean, these teams are loaded at quarterback. We're talking here,
right?
Atlanta, Carolina, loaded. Raiders. I mean, they got Jared Stidham, for goodness sakes. Why would they be interested in Lamar Jackson? I got Jared Stidham. Please.
What about Tampa?
I got Kyle Trask.
But
Why
did
would
they
I
also
be
say that they're not?
No, Tampa did not. They're not one of the teams listed, but Tampa has $47.
That's so true.
Actually, Mark, they're not there yet.
Right. They don't even have, you're right. They've got to cut 13 players so they can have $47.
The goal is a week from today to have $47. Right.
They couldn't have a draft right now. They're so far over the cap.
Things you do for a Super Bowl.
Yes. Don't just say that flippantly. Oh, sacrifice you make. You're damn right.
Yeah.
You got people that would give up children, limbs, years off their life for one. Okay? And you're talking, well, we're going to have to take a cap hit for 1 year. 1 year? Really? A big cap hit to win a Super Bowl.
Look at the Rams.
Sign me up.
Yeah, spin the wheel. Tell me what year it'll be. I'm good with it.
Is that just the way of the modern NFL? Just taking a massive cap hit to win?
No,
because I mean, and the Eagles didn't win it, but the Eagles didn't take a massive cap hit. The Chiefs didn't take a massive cap hit.
That's true.
Now, the Eagles have a bunch of players that are free agents right now that they can't, I mean, that they're not going to be able to sign back. That defense is going to be a shell of itself with the players that they lost. We already talked about the two Chiefs players that are going bye-bye here, Clark and Brown, the tackle. So that goes with the territory. If you make a run, you're losing guys.
I feel like it's so conflicting, though, as a GM. Like, do you trust the process, the building, or do you just spend?
Yes, is the answer. You trust the process until you're close, and then you spend. That's how you get it done. How we get it done is with the starting five. That is next. We'll talk some golf on the show today. Seth Everett will join us as well. Shelby Mast with brackets and John Wood to talk some golf right here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again. If you had the
Hey,
opportunity
Felipe.
to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront
Yeah.
Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
How does this happen? How does this happen?
What, the app thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, we're on.
And listen, well, we weren't. Okay. Can I ask a question, Felipe? The one thing that can never happen is things not working. We have to be on the air. The phones have to work. Is there like a list? Is there a checklist? You come in, you look at certain buttons, check the phones. Is there, because
I call West every time I connect to Westwood One. I call Westwood Denver and ask them hey, are we connected? And they're like, yeah, I got you.
well, okay, but that's just down the line. I
Right.
mean, we weren't people in Southwest Florida couldn't hear it the first 30 minutes.
But I think the app and radio is different.
Well, no, the app's got to. Why didn't it work, Felipe?
I don't.
That's what I'm.
You pressed something and it worked. Why didn't you press it at 6? I guess that's the question we're asking.
Well, because in the past I haven't had to press it.
Well, but that's what I'm asking. Is there a checklist you have to make where okay, now at 5, once I get us hooked up with Westwood One, I sit down at 5:40. I check certain buttons to make sure that, okay, we're going to go out over the app. Okay. Which I guess the app is also connected to their website, because some people listen off of the website from their phones. So that's all.
No, I hear you.
Because there's many different ways that people take in a show now.
Right.
In fact, you could argue that more people can take in the show now, not on the radio.
I'll just be more vigilant of the app. I'll just open it, It doesn't take much to just open it and hear our voices and then be like, okay.
Is there a button position though? Did you press something? And so now in theory, in your mind, you could look at that button and go, okay, that's pressed. The app should be working.
So there is one button that I do press that seems to work. But again, I'll press it every time now, but in 99% of the time I haven't had to press it and everything's worked fine.
That's true. Okay.
And I don't even know if that is, again, I pressed it and then it worked. So it probably is that, but I don't know for sure,
Listen, we know the equipment is substandard. We know that. They're not helping.
Well, also, I don't really have again, at this point, I know what is, but I don't have all the knowledge of it. You know what I mean? Just because it's not ours.
No, and it sucks.
But whatever, I figure it out. Like yesterday, was it yesterday? I don't know. With the phones, Chris taught me how to. Yeah, it was Monday. How to reboot the system, and I guess I just had to do that. So I went under the chair and I rebooted it. But yes, I should test the phones. As a matter of fact, I'll test the phones right now.
Can you do Twitch and YouTube at the same time or no?
We do Twitch and YouTube at the same time.
Okay.
We're doing Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook all simultaneously.
Is there something? Yeah, I have a feeling we may have to invest in YouTube. I have a feeling.
Why?
I just don't have faith in the network.
YouTube is very accessible as well.
There you go.
I do like Twitch, though.
I do too.
Oh, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. John Wood, he's part of NBC's golf coverage. The Players gets underway tomorrow. Lots of news in the golf world, seemingly every day. We'll talk to John about that coming up in our 8 o'clock hour. Seth Everett to join us. Shelby Mast in our bonus hour. Brackets. Right now it's time for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
yesterday afternoon. 4 o'clock was the deadline, whether or not teams were going to tag certain players. Giants tagged Saquon Barkley, making 6 players who were tagged. 6, 3 running backs. Barkley, Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Evan Ingram of the Jags, the tight end, Deron Payne, the defensive lineman for Washington, and Lamar Jackson got tagged as he and the Ravens could not work out a long-term deal. So Lamar's going to count $32.4 million against the cap. Now, he is free to solicit one deal, the best deal he can solicit, and he can present it to the Ravens. And the Ravens can match it or let him go and get 2 first-round picks in return. Every team who seemingly needs a quarterback immediately said, we have no interest in Lamar Jackson. Huh. Interesting. Giants worked out a 4-year deal with Daniel Jones. It's really 2 years, $82 million, and yet somehow, some way, only counts $18 million against this year's cap. I don't know either. I just whatever. All right, it's like tax accountant math. I just you hope the IRS doesn't audit you one day.
It's a really good point, David. I like that analogy. That's well said.
I mean, don't you feel like if you're a Bucs fan this year, it's like, wow, we're getting audited. The Saints have been like, damn, we're getting audited every year, it seems. The Rams are really getting audited. The Jets were given permission to talk to Aaron Rodgers. So the owner, the GM, and the head coach all got on the owner's private plane. They flew to California. They're talking to Aaron about life and the pursuit of happiness. This is amazing that this could be Favre all over again. Literally. Unbelievable. Bucs said we're releasing longtime left tackle Donovan Smith. Going to save about $10 million off this year's cap. He was scheduled to cost $18 million against this year's cap, so obviously there's some dead money involved. Dolphins have said they're going to release cornerback Byron Jones. They're going to designate him a June 1st cut, however. He'll be free immediately to work out a deal with somebody. It just won't become official until after June 1st. Dolphins will save $13.6 million on this year's cap, which is good because there's $17.7 million over it. However, they will incur a $10 million dead cap hit in 2024. College hoops last night marked 5 conference titles. Merrimack won the Northeast Conference. They can't go to the tournament because they're in that transition phase. So the team they beat Fairleigh Dickinson, they're going, but Merrimack got to celebrate the conference title. Northern Kentucky won the Horizon. Charleston won the Colonial. That saved a potential bracket.
Maybe, probably not.
Yeah, Charleston.
I'm just happy they won. With 30 wins on the season, I think they're 31-3.
Gonzaga blew out St. Mary's to win the West Coast Conference, and Oral Roberts blew out North Dakota State to win the Summit. That's another one. Oral Roberts, it was, getting some at-large consideration. Now they don't have to worry about that. Georgia Tech ended Florida State's season. The Noles went 9-23. Yikes. Which is okay because Louisville went 4-28. Georgia Tech will face Pitt in the ACC tournament, and BC, who ended Louisville's season, they will face North Carolina. Mike Bray's tenure at Notre Dame came to an end. Va Tech beat the Irish 67-64. Hokies will face NC State in the next round of the ACC tournament. Today, Mark, the Southland, the Patriot League, and the Big Sky Championships will play out. 3 more bids today. Meanwhile, Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10, Big East, Mountain West Conference USA all get underway. How about that?
March, baby.
Women's hoops, South Florida shocked in the American. Wichita State beat them in the quarters 65-53. I mean, the Bulls are going to get a bid, but it's going to cost somebody on the bubble a bid because that was looking like a 1-bid league. UCF, their last ever game in the American, they got beat by Memphis 48-46. The coaches poll in women's hoops came out yesterday. South Florida was ranked 20th, FGCU 23rd. Apparently no Florida schools worthy of ranking according to the media and the AP. So the coaches say yes, media says no. NHL, we predicted 5-2 Lightning. We get a lot wrong. We nailed the exact score of a hockey game last night. Lightning with 3 power play goals. They beat the Flyers 5-2. Killorn and Kucherov with 2 goals apiece. Big win for the Panthers at home against Vegas, 2-1. They're 3 points behind the Penguins for the final playoff spot in the East. Penguins in overtime beat Columbus 5-4. Carolina.
Yeah, tough night for everybody chasing last night because the Islanders had a big win and so did Pittsburgh.
Exactly. Islanders beat Buffalo 3-2 and Pittsburgh won, so nobody gained any ground. Carolina beat Montreal in a shootout while the Devils lost to Toronto, so Carolina extended their division lead over New Jersey to 4 points. Also, Mark, chasing in the West. Calgary's trying to chase down, name the team. It changes every day. They beat Minnesota 1-0 in a shootout, but Colorado and Seattle both won. So the Flames are still 5 points out of the final playoff spot. NBA, no Giannis, and yet Milwaukee beat Orlando by 11, 134-123. The Bucks have won 18 of 19. Knicks at a 16-point halftime lead, and then admittedly ran out of gas. Charlotte came all the way back to snap their 9-game winning streak, 112-105. And
That's
Brooklyn,
a terrible loss.
It is, but somewhat understandable in the grind. Okay. Brooklyn, meanwhile, beat Houston, and so the Nets are just a game behind the Knicks for the 5 seed in the East. Philly, no James Harden, yet they went into Minnesota and won by 23, and Embiid with 39. Golden State lost at OKC because it's on the road. Golden State can't win on the road.
Man, they are awful. It's like their record on the road is like 4-27. It's just ridiculous how bad they are on the road.
And clearly they're not going to have home court advantage in any playoff series that they're in. So it's tough to think that the Warriors are going to go on a run. What have they won, like 8 road games? Something like that?
I think they're, 8, I believe.
Dallas beat Utah by 4. The Lakers beat Memphis 112-103. Memphis with the loss drops into a tie for the 2 seed with Sacramento. That's right. Denver and Sacramento could be your top 2 seeds in the Western Conference. Talk about just fear.
What year is it?
Exactly. Okay, the Lakers, by the way, with the win, move into the 9 hole. Meanwhile, they're only half a game ahead of 3 teams tied for 10th. They're only a game ahead of the team that's 13th, yet they're only 2 games behind the 2 teams who are tied for 5th.
Anthony
that's
Davis.
right.
What he said.
Teams 5 through 13 in the West are separated by 3 games. Okay, here's your trivia. You ready, Felipe?
Shoot.
Pau Gasol had his number retired last night. He is the 12th player in Lakers history to have his number retired. Name him.
Oh, George Mikan,
There you go.
Shaq,
Mm-hmm.
James Worthy,
Mm-hmm.
Kareem,
Mm-hmm.
Magic,
Mm-hmm.
Kobe, which is 2 jerseys.
You're right, but he only counts as 1. We're
Okay.
doing players. 13 jerseys have been retired, 12 players.
Gail Goodrich.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
I will say you're making it hard on yourself. If you went by era, it's actually much easier than you think.
Wilt.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry West.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many do I have so far?
You got 9.
Oof.
I'll make it real easy. Okay. First off, there's 5 centers retired. If you just did the centers, all right, you go Mikan, Wilt, Kareem, Shaq, and Pau Gasol. So congratulations, pal. You had your number retired. You're no better than the 5th best center we've ever had. Congratulations.
Hey, 2 championships, okay? I think
Okay.
you deserve that.
They do, and that's all that counts. Okay. If you go the 60s, early 70s, besides Wilt, you add Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Gail Goodrich. So now you're at 8. Okay. Then you do Showtime. You already done Kareem. You go Magic, Worthy, the one that most will miss, Jamal Wilkes.
Ooh. Yeah.
And then Kobe. I will say, to show how popular Pau Gasol is, Phil Jackson showed up for the ceremony last
Jimmy
night.
Butler was there.
Jimmy Butler, on an off day, flew across country to be there for the ceremony and then got on a red eye and flew back. Okay. Also, Kobe's wife, first public appearance at a Lakers anything since the death of her husband and daughter. Okay. Meanwhile, LeBron wasn't there. That's a bad move. Okay. I know you have no relationship with Pau, but you're the face of the Lakers. You want to be a Laker, you got to show up at these events. Okay. That was a bad move by LeBron not to show up last night.
Now, I could be wrong. But did his son have a game?
It does not matter.
You still show up?
Yes. You want to be a Laker? You
That's
want to
true.
be a Laker? You go to Lakers events.
Yeah.
Trust me. Mark has lectured me. I never wanted to go to the Christmas party. And Mark would go, David, you go to the Christmas parties. Last night was essentially a Christmas party.
Got a show.
Go.
And in LeBron's time as a Laker, they haven't had a lot of those kind of moments in LA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And when are they going to have one again? Probably for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of retirements yesterday. Lorenzo Cain said he's done. He had a pretty solid career. He was on that Royals team that won the World Series in 2015. Mike Pouncey made his retirement official. He's signing a one-day contract with the Dolphins. Players gets underway tomorrow, but there was a players meeting, Mark, yesterday morning. Got to admit, it was 7:30 a.m. And so James Hahn said, 7:30, I'm not going. Besides, you already made your changes. You're screwing guys like me. I'm not interested. Rory took note that Hahn wasn't there and ripped him afterwards, said it was a slap in the face. I'm just curious. Is he going to say that to John Rahm and JT? Because they weren't there either. Just curious. Will heard one more stat. You know, they're talking about the no-cut events on the PGA Tour going forward. Tiger's apparently won 26 no-cut events amongst his 82 wins. Arnie won 23, and Jack won 17. I'm trying to figure out what the heck did they play in back in the day that didn't have a cut? I mean, Tiger played in all those, WGC events and the match play, but I just found that interesting. It's a lot more wins that legendary guys have had in no-cut events. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
I have to admit, Felipe, you did better with the older Laker than I thought you would. Like you Mikan quickly, you went Gail Goodridge.
Yeah, Elgin Baylor was the one I thought you'd get.
I cannot believe I missed Elgin Baylor.
I think you made it difficult on yourself. You should have gone by era.
Right.
You would, because you never would have missed, West, Baylor, Goodridge. You would have done them all together.
Well, I said West.
He had
You did. You did, but you were kind of all over the place. I think you made it harder on yourself.
Yeah. I don't think I would have gotten Wilkes. I mean, he was good, but
he was on 3 championship teams, though. Averaged 18 points a game. In the game that Magic scored 42, game 6 to win the 1980 finals, Jamal had 37.
I just liked when he was stroking it. I like that stroke.
You mean the twisty behind the ear shot that you could
Yeah.
never get at?
No.
You could never get at his jumper. He was smooth, baby. So, there you go.
I hope you played at home and enjoyed our NBA trivia.
That's it. Especially in the baseball hour.
Right.
I mean, talking about mixing up an audience here.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Great show lined up. John Wood, lead analyst for NBC Golf, will join us. Seth Everett and Shelby Mast, all still ahead right here. Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You mentioned Lorenzo Cain retired. I love the fact that he started playing baseball his sophomore year of high school. That's always a fact I think of when I hear Lorenzo Cain. That's like Giannis. Picked up a basketball when he was like 15 years old the first time.
So Wisconsin, Penn State today, or Ohio State today, right? Wisconsin, Ohio State,
Is that yeah?
6:30. Tomorrow's the huge day in the Big Ten. Rutgers, Michigan at noon. If Wisconsin beats Ohio State, they got to play Iowa at like 3 tomorrow. Penn State's playing Illinois at 6:30. Yeah, tomorrow's actually the Big Ten day. And I don't know if Michigan beating Rutgers is enough for Michigan. They might have to then beat Purdue the next day.
I think so.
Now, I think it's enough for Rutgers. I think if Rutgers beats Michigan, they'll sneak in.
Because the NCAA is stupid, brown chicken. That's all I can really tell you. You get a team on each side, one men's, one women's, that you can have a 2-year probationary period.
The thought process behind it is that the Division I schools were worried that so many D2s would want to move up. So they wanted to put a roadblock in front of them. It's actually a really tough spot for a conference. Like, do you let those teams play in the conference tournament? Because if you don't allow them to play in the conference tournament, like the FGCU, the first 4 years that they were in the ASUN, they didn't even get to play in the conference tournament. Their season ended at the end of the regular season.
10 seconds.
For both the men and the women.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton. Here on this hump day. It's a Friday for Mark. He's off the rest of the week. It'll be Felipe and I in the studio together the next 2 days. Getting on the road after the show. Heading back to the 239. Got some business to take care of tomorrow. You know what tomorrow is? Kind of what we were joking about 15 minutes ago with the NFL and the salary cap. When you're up against it in the cap, it's like getting audited. Yeah, I got a meeting tomorrow so that we don't get audited.
There you go. Tip your accountants well. They're really important to you.
That's right. It's an important meeting.
Damn right.
If you only go to one meeting a year, that's a biggie. It's on the short list when you think about it. But
you know, we got a text, and the text line's open. 21,000 is the number. If you've never texted the show before, text the keyword FSN radio, all one word. Once you've done that, you can text as much as you would like. And it's a very simple text. And we got one earlier in the week or yesterday actually, that was a little bit on the same line. This one just says, so tired of Rory acting like a punk kid. Don't you think Rory better start winning if he's taking over as commissioner of the tour? I know that his consigliere, Tiger Woods, is running the thing, but Rory's the face of the PGA Tour now.
Mm-hmm.
And when rank and file players are upset and he says it's a slap in the face that they didn't show, and he picks and chooses who he's combative with and against, the full swing didn't do him any favors when he threw the, FU Phil out there, which was funny. I mean, but golfers are always entitled. It's part of the nature of who they are. They are selfish. It's part of the nature of the game that they play. But if you're going to be the face of the tour, might want to win a major this year.
I was going to say, because Rory's winning, he's just not winning the events that we consider important. Remember when the LIV had a little something going on late in the spring and early summer last year, and Rory won that event? Was it the Canadian Open? I mean, he was just the huge crowds and celebrating, and they were chanting his name. And also, it was his 21st win on tour, which passed Greg Norman for a number of wins on the all-time PGA Tour win list, something like that. And, he took the shot at Greg on the green in the post-game interview, and, and they were chanting his name, and he won the tour championship. He won the DP World Tour Championship. He actually won, think about it, PGA Tour, European Tour. He won the season-long championships on both tours.
When's the last time he's won a major?
2014. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just when you start to, there's a certain point where they're chanting, this, David. They're chanting your name. He saved the PGA Tour. Well, now he's taking a shot at members of his own tour. That's not going to be well received.
By some. I mean, let's face it, though. We're a society, we root for the front runners more than we root for the rank and file.
Absolutely.
I mean, even Mark Lai yesterday.
Until the front runners quit winning.
Well, that's true. That's true. But he's top 3 in the world. See, what I don't think he can do, Mark, is I don't think he can slip to 15th and keep acting this way.
Okay.
Like, quite frankly, he can't become Jordan Spieth. Spieth hasn't done a ton of winning in the last 3 years. Now, he's still a top 10, 12 player, and he's a big name. Okay, but, Jordan Spieth's very rarely the favorite in any tournament he's playing in. He's just, people like him. He's popular. He's on the leaderboard. You'll watch. I will say, he's great television. Part of the reason why I'm a Phil guy is Phil was great TV. He was all over the course. Okay, I don't know how you couldn't enjoy watching Phil. He honestly hit the ball more like us than any great player we've ever seen, except for Seve. I mean, nobody scored as well being all over the course as Phil since Seve. Well, Jordan Spieth, Mark, I got to be honest with you. You're a 15 handicapper. I don't know how you don't like Spieth, because he hits the ball all over the place. He wins tournaments hitting 40% of the fairways. But he can get up and down from a parking lot.
And he rolls long putts in, which is the other, just at Bay Hill, what did he couldn't, then all of a sudden he can't make the short ones. He can't make the 6-8 footer, but he rolls in the 15-20 footer for par. He's remarkable.
What was interesting yesterday, and we'll talk to John Wood of NBC Sports and the Golf Channel coming up at the top of the hour, is Rory. The commissioner didn't go this far, but quite a few of the players just they've now flat out saying, yeah, the LIV, probably the best thing that's happened to the PGA Tour in 40, 50 years. I mean, Rory said, this tour had not changed in 60 years. He was off 10 years. I mean, Jack and Arnie changed the tour in 69, 70, but since then it's true. Basically, the tour was going along and what have you. And Rory, I believe the quote is, LIV has been good for the PGA Tour.
Well, the point that you made yesterday, David, is that where does the LIV go? Where does Live Golf go now?
Right? I mean, the PGA Tour has out-LIV'd the LIV. Let's be brutally honest. That's what they've done. They will not go that far and say that. And the commissioner kind of, took a little umbrage yesterday when people tried to say, well, you're doing the same thing as the LIV. He was like, whoa, 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 which of course he has to say. But, Rory and Rahm and others were like, oh, yeah, absolutely. We grabbed a few of the things that they did. It's smart. Both of them, Rory and Rahm, have both, their quotes are, LIV was good for the PGA Tour, which is amazing because I thought 8 months ago, anyone associated with the LIV needed to go to jail. And now, apparently, thank God they did what they did, or else we wouldn't have the PGA Tour that we're now going to have going forward.
Right. We've got them by the short hairs, and we've taken advantage of every single thing that Live Golf has done that we can make our tour better for the top players, which is what they've done.
Translation yesterday, Phil was right. Now, they won't say that now because they hate him. I mean, he's the second most unpopular guy next to Norman. But the translation yesterday from John Rahm and Rory McIlroy is Phil was right. All the changes that Phil wanted have basically now been put into place on the PGA Tour. So because of that, Mark, if you're LIV, seriously, where do you go?
You have nowhere to go. You have to hope for your sake that your players go out and win a major this year.
Totally. Your top players have to outplay their top players. That's what has to happen.
That's it. Other than that, I don't see an end for Live Golf that they wanted. Even if they win this lawsuit, that doesn't matter.
I mean, you could, if I were to ask you, and maybe 8 months ago the answer was the same, but if I were to ask you, is there one thing the LIV does or has that is better than the PGA Tour? I think I could have listed some things 8 months ago. I don't know if I can list a thing right now. They've got some players that I like watching play golf. Okay, but do they have more of them than the PGA Tour? Not in the elevated events, they don't.
Not in the elevated events. When the non-elevated events are going on and you're going head-to-head with that, you might catch some eyeballs.
But also, let's be honest. People didn't like the television broadcast of the few people that watched it of their first event. I mean, Mark, you and I watch golf, right? CBS, NBC, LIV. Where would you rank the, coverage of golf?
Right now, I like NBC's a little better than CBS's. I like the voices that are on it better.
I do as well.
Right now. So I'd go NBC, CBS, and Live.
Yes. So right now, their coverage is last. Okay.
And it's hard to find all the rest of it.
Right. Okay. And then, so, if you're them going forward, it's kind of like, wow, they've kind of outmaneuvered us here. Now, Mark Lai says, believe it or not, if you're LIV, you just put your head down and go. This takes time. If you're in it for the long haul, then be in it for the long haul. Okay. I mean, I have to admit, a year ago, this thing wasn't even real. I mean, if you think of it, they didn't play their first event till June of last year. I mean, LIV Golf's 9 months old.
And we'll see if their TV coverage can increase, because in most cases, as we've pointed out with, you don't really make the comparison that often, but what happened? The XFL had their first week with some okay TV numbers. They go down week 2. Will Live Golf have similar numbers in their next event, or will the numbers actually go down because the curiosity's gone for people that are casually trying to find it for the first time?
Like, I believe the next LIV tournament's next weekend.
Yes.
Okay.
In Arizona.
Going up against this little thing called March Madness. All right. That seems problematic to me. I don't know. Call me crazy.
You mean you think some TVs might be on basketball that weekend?
I am, because they're not on them all year. But then they'll go, oh, I'll be damned, it's a tournament. Even my wife for the last 2 weeks, she's like, so when's the madness begin? I go, well, it depends on how you define madness. She goes, and I go, not for another week.
What did you try to convince her to watch a small team conference last night?
I said,
hey, honey, the Summit Conference Championships tonight. The madness is happening.
Honey, Oral Roberts in North Dakota State. What do you say?
That mad enough for you?
Grab a bottle of wine, snuggle. What do you say? Huh? No?
Nothing says romance like North Dakota State and Oral Roberts on a Tuesday. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, Adam, I think I've said this recently, but I'm waiting. First off, we're going to make some renovations in the condo, but I'm also waiting to see what the future of the show is. Like, whether or not I'm going to be broadcasting from a radio studio or not. So before I make any changes to this room, need to know what it looks like going forward. But Hops, you're right. You know what? I may just put a nail in a wall and hang up a sign and just leave it there. That's funny, Adam. Don't have one, but that's funny. John, when you say Felipe falling asleep on the radio over under 2, is that a week?
Jeez. Went to another spring training game yesterday. There were like 5 pitch clock violations.
Really?
Like 5.
All on hitter or pitcher?
Pitcher. Every time.
So 5 times they put a ball. They added a ball to the count.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. Game was only 3 hours. That was long for what's like the average now. Spring training at least.
I am not heading to the Players, Super Joe.
$30 seconds.
It is a big deal in these parts, though. Man, oh man.
$10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Listen, I know you and I are tired of this person right now. We're just got a little Aaron Rodgers fatigue. But can we go there for a second on a couple of different fronts? One, so how good do you think the Jets become if they get him?
I think that they would be the second best team in that division.
Okay. Think they're a playoff team then?
Yes.
Okay. So now you enter the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, and in the AFC, when you've got to go through right now the who's who of quarterbacks in the NFL, if you're the Jets, you'd show up at the gunfight with a gun. I mean, just saying. They were 7-4 at one point last year with
bad
Wilson,
quarterback play.
with Wilson and Mike White. They beat Buffalo, beat Miami with bad quarterback play. They have top 5 defense in the league. I mean, they do. They got some young skill players. A couple of them got hurt at some point last year, but they need a couple of offensive linemen, although Aaron Rodgers will make that offensive line a lot better overnight. But they got a young wide receiver. They got a young running back. I mean, Aaron Rodgers on the Jets. I mean, like you said, you think then they would vault the Dolphins?
I do.
Okay. Well, then this is...
I don't mean to pick off Dolphin fan this morning, but Miami Dolphin fan, ask yourself that question right now. The Jets with Aaron Rodgers, do you think you're better than the Jets with Aaron Rodgers? I don't think that you are. Close. It's really close.
Okay. That's number one. Number two, if you're the Packers, and obviously you're going to take a huge cap hit. I don't see how you can do this without, if you're Green Bay, taking a monster cap hit. And in theory, Mark, the bigger the cap hit you're willing to take will then help the Jets. So in theory, you can get more for him. But what is it that you're asking for? You want to move on from him. What is it that you're willing to accept in a trade? Remember, when Favre went to the Jets, it wasn't for a first-round pick. I think it was for a second and like a fifth. Now, that's off the top of my head, and that was 2008, so I could be wrong. But I thought it was a second and something else.
Yeah, I'd want pick 13.
And
that's where we're starting.
And if the Jets said, well, that's not happening. I mean, if you're the Packers here, what I'm kind of getting at is, do you have the leverage? I mean, you've let the Jets talk to him. By doing that, you've said publicly, we want to move on from you. We're done with you. You're probably done with us. We're done with you. So if that's the case, Mark, how much leverage do they really have? Isn't this like Patrick
David, it is going to
Kane?
mediation before getting the divorce lawyer. You are absolutely right here. They are making plans. There's no question.
I mean, this is kind of like what happened with Patrick Kane and the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks, at the end of the day, didn't have any leverage. Kane wanted out. He had the no trade thing. He basically said, I'm only willing to go to them. Well, if that's the case, how much can you get from them? Right now, there seems to be no one, although some people wondering if Vegas is looming in the weeds, but there seems to be nobody but the Jets who's in on Aaron Rodgers, which in and of itself is fascinating. But, I mean, if you're Green Bay, when you say, I want pick 13, and I go, yeah, that ain't happening, are you really going to say, well, then we ain't trading them?
I would. And I'd have I'd have no problem with that.
And I'd say, okay, take a look at that cap hit and get back to me. For a guy you don't want, you're going to take okay, all right, a $31 million cap hit this year for a guy you don't want, who's going to cause nothing but problems because he doesn't want to be there and you don't want him there. Okay, all right, fine. Just keep my number handy. You'll be calling. And by the way, it's $31 million if he stays in Green Bay. The huge cap hit is if they get rid of him because all the future bonus money gets thrown on top, and it's nearly $60 million.
Which is why I thought don't be surprised if it takes a while to get this trade done, because I thought I read that the June 1 date is a lot friendlier to the Packers.
Yes, I agree with you that in theory, both teams would move on, but the paperwork can't be filed until the first couple of days of June. Which in theory, the Jets would want them there for a mini camp and what have you. They may just have to reschedule their mini camp. I don't know what to tell you. Instead of doing it in early May, we're doing it in early June. Why? You know why.
We all know why.
Right. But, I mean, what if the Jets say, no, we're not giving you the 13th overall pick. We'll give you our second rounder. We might even give you 2 2s or a 2 and a 3. I'll tell you what. I'll be nice. I'll give you a second this year and a third in 24. Yes or no, Mark?
I want your first round next year then. If I'm not getting the first round this year, give me your first round next year because you think it's going to be in the high 20s.
He's 39 years old. He's taking
He's
things.
Aaron flipping Rodgers.
He's taking.
You're going to go to the playoffs with him. Give me your damn first-round pick.
You guys went 8-9 with him last year. There's no guarantees. It's the National Football League. Okay, I'll give you a second rounder this year and a third rounder next year. Take it or leave it.
Goodbye.
Okay. Okay.
I can do business with you all day long, Moulton. This is easy.
Now, I will say you caused problems for the Jets because without Aaron Rodgers, what's their next option? Jimmy G?
And if it's not Jimmy G, who is it? Baker Mayfield? Come on.
Right.
We've seen the list of quarterback that's available.
So that's why I find this fascinating. It doesn't seem to me like the Packers have a lot of leverage. But then again, if the Packers do say no, the Jets hang up the phone and go, oh, my goodness, what are we going to do?
Do you think the Jets will give up a 1 for him?
I think the Jets are desperate and that you would win the poker game with the Jets. You wouldn't win it with me if I was the Jets. Okay. But I do believe that the Packers will win the poker game. Also because they're taking the huge cap hit.
And what is it the Jets have to win more than anything else? Not football games. They have to win the press conference. And there's no way they can walk to the podium without Aaron Rodgers at this point. Especially after the meeting. You know, I mean, they flew out, the owner, the GM, the coach, the offensive coordinator. I think Hackett went on the trip as well.
So you're saying 13th, the first round pick, number 13 overall.
Yes.
I will say if you're Green Bay, you'd be picking 13 and 15 in the draft.
You'd be losing Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would. Mm-hmm.
Who knew Aaron Rodgers was Kevin Durant?
He's really just Brett Favre. Same amount of years and everything. It's stunning, actually, how, especially if he ends up with the Jets.
It would be remarkable to have history completely repeat itself from Green Bay to the New York Jets. And, you know, I love people say, well, it didn't work with Favre. As you've pointed out many times in the show, it was working just fine until he got hurt.
They were 8-3. They were the 1 seed if the playoffs had started the next day. He injured his shoulder. They lost 4 of their last 5. They finished 9-7. They fired their head coach. Favre said, well, then get me the heck out of here. I ain't, not going through this. And he went to Minnesota.
Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening. Seth Everett in an hour right here on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth. that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Mark, you see that question?
Did I see what question?
Canada's question.
Canada's question.
What's your answer?
How many golf balls do you usually? Well, I have always have a couple dozen with me, but it's because I have my own cart and they stay in the cart.
They're showing highlights of the Lakers game on TV. Anthony Davis looked like Anthony Davis last night. LA needs that.
Basically, one actually they don't want to give up the compensation. They think they've got a young quarterback that's a lot more financially friendly. You got to get, if you get Lamar, you got to pay him, and you got to give him guaranteed money, and no one wants to do that. This is collusion.
DC, how come the Falcons, Saints, and Browns were all willing to pay for Deshaun Watson? Now, the Browns went more guaranteed money than anybody else, but the Falcons and Saints reportedly had a ton of guaranteed money that they were willing to offer. And the only way the Browns could get him was to fully guarantee the contract. And so they did. But there were three teams who were hot and heavy for Deshaun Watson, and no one is interested in Lamar Jackson, and you don't think that's collusion? See, here's the deal for Lamar. He's lost a lot of leverage now. Like, if I'm pick the team, I'll submit my offer to Lamar. And it's not going to be 100% fully guaranteed. It's then up to Lamar to decide, does he take that offer and hand it to the Ravens? Lamar may look at the offer and go, yeah, that doesn't interest me. I won't play you there for it. At which point you go, okay. But that's the best we can do. Which reportedly is likely better than the best offer he's received from the Ravens. Yeah, but Sunky Naples, just a year ago, three teams thought Deshaun Watson, with all his baggage, was at least worth an offer. And now Lamar Jackson's not even worth an offer.
And do we think they can collude silently, if you know what I mean? I don't think they're ever going to get caught for collusion. But the league has made it known they do not want guaranteed contracts.
10 seconds.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. John Wood, one of the on-course reporters for NBC and Golf Channel. NBC, the Golf Channel, Peacock getting ready for their coverage of the Players, which begins tomorrow. John Wood will join us coming up at the top of the hour. Seth Everett, 1 hour from now. Shelby Mast in our bonus hour. As we talk bracketology, how many wins does Wisconsin, Michigan, Penn State need in the Big Ten tournament, which gets underway today? Is Rutgers in with a win, or what if they lose tomorrow to Michigan? Are they out? Have not been a lot of bids stolen so far in the smaller tournaments, which has been good news for the big boys trying to secure the final spots.
Yeah, I feel badly for Rutgers. They lost their best player. They've lost a bunch of games here down the stretch, and they're now one of the first four out, according to Shelby. They have to win today, and that might still not be enough, or win tomorrow, rather, but that might still not be enough at the end of the day.
Right. I mean, like Wisconsin beats Ohio State today. Well, why should that help them?
It doesn't.
Right. But to a lot of people, you add a W, it's like, oh, well, they're on the bubble and they won. They should be in. Well, they beat a team that's not even 500. I mean, they basically didn't do anything. I mean, they get no credit in theory from the committee for a win today. Now, they can get to tomorrow and win tomorrow. Okay, that's a different story.
So that's a little what we'll talk with Shelby about, as there are very few spots left. We're starting to get to the point where basically teams have earned their spots. According to Shelby, there's a handful of teams that are still vying that haven't really punched their ticket yet. Basically, You're looking at the entire 11 line, which is the 2 play-in games, and a couple of 10-seeded teams that still have a little bit of work to do that could lose their bid. So not much really for the bracketologists left to look at, other than maybe, and even the other side of it, David, most think that the top lines are taken care of.
Yeah, I'm curious if Purdue wins the Big Ten, can they reclaim a 1? Like if the assumption is Kansas, Houston, and Alabama are 3 of the 4 ones, that it comes down to UCLA or Purdue. Now, Purdue hasn't finished the season all that strong. UCLA has. I mean, a lot of places I see now has UCLA as the 4th one. For whatever that's worth. It's a bigger deal in women's hoops because they actually hand out home games based on your seeding. That's important. Not so much in the men's. Final 4 in Houston, though. I mean, let's be honest. If the Cougars can get there, Final 4 in Houston. And Nance, last Final 4. He's a University of Houston grad. So it's fitting that it'll be in Houston. And what if the Cougars are there, his alma mater?
Would be spectacular for Nance, that's for sure. And for the Cougars, we'll see. As you've talked about, David, they run into scoring problems.
Yeah.
And that's when you got to win 6 in a row.
Yep.
You run out of offense for a game, you can find yourself home pretty quickly.
No question about it. NFL making a ton of news yesterday. It was franchise tag deadline day. 6 players ultimately getting the tag. 1 or 2 more than usual. 3 of the 6 running backs. Most high profile, though, Lamar Jackson. And we all know the story by now. He believes if Deshaun Watson get a 100% fully guaranteed deal, he should get one as well. the Ravens, and apparently no one in the rest of the league is willing to offer him one. Let me ask you this, Mark. What if you're one of the other teams? Because there are a few teams. I mean, we joke that everybody else in the league said they're not interested. I mean, not everyone in the league said they're not interested. A few teams have actually kept their mouth shut. But let's safely assume that no one in the league wants to give him a fully guaranteed deal. You know, we just went through a little role play as to the Packers and the Jets and who has leverage in the negotiations here. What do we think it would take? By the way, for the record, I looked it up during the break. Favre was traded for a conditional pick. Now, first off, he was traded the first week of August. Remember, it was a huge circus. They both showed up at training camp together. You know, Favre was running the second team. They had family night. Rodgers was booed. Favre wasn't allowed in the locker room. I mean, it was a complete circus. And August 7th was when Favre got traded 15 years ago. It was a conditional pick. It was dependent on if the Jets made the playoffs. If they made the playoffs, Green Bay got a first-round pick. If they didn't, they got a third. Dolphins beat the Jets final game of the regular season to win the East and keep the Jets out of the playoffs. Packers only ended up with a third-round pick.
I'd make that deal if it was a second and a first, by the way.
So we could do the deal right now. Remember, you don't get a pick then this year. It's a conditional pick, so you're not getting the pick until the 2024 draft. So if I said, listen, second round pick, it becomes a first round pick if we make the playoffs.
I could do that deal.
So you're getting nothing this year, though. You're losing Rodgers and you're getting nothing in this year's draft.
I'd want a first. I think I would win with the Jets because I think they have to win the press conference. But if that was the be all end all, I could live with a deal like that.
Okay. So back to Lamar. We're assuming that no one in the league is going to offer him a fully guaranteed deal. So now what do you do if there's a team out there? And I forget all the teams that said we're not interested, but let's just pick a team.
The Raiders, since we haven't, because they've said nothing. Let's just pick the Raiders.
Yeah. Or, you know, a pipe dream, Tampa Bay. Okay. Who they make an offer to Lamar. Lamar, by the way, can get an offer. He can get 10 offers. He can only submit one to the Ravens, whatever he deems the best offer to be. He can take that to the Ravens and say, hey, so-and-so's offered me this. You going to match it? Or are you going to trade me for draft pick compensation? You have to decide now. Couldn't a team out there, the Raiders, Carolina, I don't know if they were one of those that said we're not interested or not, but what if they just say to Lamar, listen, I know this isn't what you would ideally want, but here's what we're willing to offer. And from what we understand, this is better than what the Ravens have offered you. The best Ravens offer that we know about was $250 million over 5 years, 133 of it guaranteed.
So basically, you got to guarantee the fourth year in that scenario, because that's what he's not getting right now. That 133 is about 3 years. I mean, that's
it's 2.5. I mean, it's
right.
Barely, right. So if you go to 150, you're guaranteeing 3 of the 5. Okay. How about this? Would you be willing to pick the team out there? Okay. Bring it down from 250 to 240, but go 3.5 years.
So you're guaranteeing in the 170 range.
Exactly.
175, somewhere in that ballpark.
Right. 175 would have been 3.5 years if it was 250. So do the math. Yes. So if you're saying 240, 48 a year, remember, he's 26 this year. You'd be getting him for 26, 27, 28, 29, and then you could walk away from him before he's 30. And it wouldn't cost you a penny. And so you get Lamar and you guarantee 3.5 years. And you just send him that offer. And you go, I know that's not what you're looking for, but that's probably better than anything you've been offered. Then Lamar, Mark, has to make the decision, does he even take that offer and submit it to the Ravens? Or does he just reject it?
And part of me thinks he would reject it because it's so close to what the Ravens offer. I think he wants out of Baltimore.
Ooh, really?
I think he's had it. I think he's
Wow.
had it with them. He's been negotiating for a year and a half. They haven't budged. I think Lamar wants out.
Okay.
So if you get an offer that's only 10% better than what Baltimore gave you, there's a good chance that they sign that offer.
Well, I do think, though, in theory, if we're right, I mean, the offer might be 20% better. I mean, if I'm guaranteeing 170 million, you're only guaranteeing 130, 140. I mean, it is 30, 40 million dollars after all. I mean, you know, it's a few bucks.
A couple.
Especially since I've been hurt the last 2 years, missed 11 games. But, I mean, that I'm curious about. What if one team actually says, hey, you know, I know this isn't 100% of what you're looking for, but here you go. Lamar then would have to make a decision to even submit it to the Ravens. Because remember, if the Ravens go, and we ain't interested, we'll take the draft picks, he then has to play for that team with that contract. And I know we all would suffer to play for 160, 170 million guaranteed, but you know what we're doing here. Or if Lamar says no, well, now what do you do? You're Lamar. I'm the Ravens. You going to show up and play for 32.4? Or are you going to play the Antonio Brown, not Antonio Brown, who was the running back?
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell, and also the big left tackle for the Texans who got traded to Seattle. Was it Smith? Okay. He sat out the first 11 games one year. He said, I ain't playing for that. And then he showed up like 10 minutes before he had to in order for that year to count as a vested year. Dwayne Starks, I don't know, somebody like that was their left tackle.
And the other side is, does Lamar just play this year on the franchise and see if he gets franchised again to get out, to become a free agent?
But if you're Lamar, do you do it? Or do you play real hardball? I ain't playing. I ain't signing it. Remember, just because they've tagged you, you have to sign it. You have to agree to it. And Lamar goes, I ain't agreeing to it. Who are the Ravens going to play at quarterback? I know you could joke Pro Bowler Huntley there with his 2 touchdown passes. But, I mean, what if Lamar just says, I'll see you at Thanksgiving. I'm sitting out the first 11. I'll show up just to get a vested year. We can play this game all day as far as I'm concerned. I'm done with you guys. You're dead to me.
It's never worked for a player before.
He's 26.
I understand.
Deshaun Watson sat out a full year, got $240 million guaranteed.
You're right. It worked out for his pocketbook. We don't know if it's ever going to work out on the field because he didn't look like he could play last year.
But this is all about the pocketbook.
No, I know. No, you're right.
Lamar's trying to get paid. If you're Lamar, if somebody makes you an offer and it's the best offer you've had, 1, do you accept it? And then 2, so you willing to go DEFCON 5 here with the Ravens?
And this is where, to me, Lamar not having an agent really affects him. Because that agent would be I don't think Lamar's mom's working the phones for deals right now. I don't. And she may be great at doing his contract. I mean, she may be excellent at helping him out and being a great advisor to him. But right now, she's not calling the Raiders trying to work out a deal.
Well, because technically, Mark, since he's acting as his own agent, no team in the league could have contacted Lamar until 4:00 yesterday until the Ravens tagged him. Now a team could pick up the phone and actually call him and make him an offer. I mean, they could have lost draft picks and been fined millions of dollars if one of them had picked up the phone and contacted him for collusion. Right.
But if it's an agent, then we all know these things happen.
Exactly. That stuff happens all the time. No one ever gets caught.
They're talking to an agent about Moulton. Oh, by the way, you represent Miller too. I mean, come on.
Hypothetically, if Miller were to become available, ... Right. Mm-hmm.
So I do think Lamar acting as his own agent here does not help him one bit.
I think as of 4:00 yesterday, he needed an agent. I really do. I think now he could use somebody. I'm just curious. Does he play? I mean, got to admit, he's turned down every Ravens offer for a year and a half.
I mean, don't you think he wants out?
Well, I think he doesn't want to play for the tag. I think there's a chance that he's willing to go Le'Veon Bell here. And it's one thing when your number one running back does it. It's another, talking about messing up your team, when the number one quarterback says, no, I'm good. I'll stay home.
That would be remarkable. It's hard for me to even compute that a quarterback would sit out a season, but
because here's the other problem for the Ravens. They've put the tag on him. If the minute he signs it, it's $32.4 million. So yes, when he's sitting at home, he's not counting against the cap, but they can't go out and replace him because what if he then turns around and signs it?
Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. That's fantastic. Cam Smith saying he might show up at the Players and watch.
If you're NBC and you see him in the crowd, do you put him on camera?
Yes.
Apparently he plays there. Practices there.
God, Buck was telling me his story. He was out at that, he goes out to that Tahoe event every year in that Pro-Am and plays. And one of the guys he's playing with, Paige Spranik, was there. And he's just, this guy's freaking out. I got to get a picture. And apparently the guy's wife's quite attractive as well. And so he looks and they're starting like a hole apart. Paige got about 10 people. Buck, Paige, can you do me a favor? And his whole group's like, do you know her? He's like, no, but you know how do you get someone's attention? You just interrupt the whole scene, take them right off their guard. He's really easy. Got the picture. Everything worked out great. Embarrassed the hell out of the guy too. He goes, it couldn't have worked better for me.
There you go.
But he goes, you've got Tony Romo here. You've got this guy here. You got that guy. And he's just freaking out because.
Right. Paige Sporonic.
Right.
Who may not be better looking than his wife.
Right.
John's on hold.
Great.
$30 seconds. $10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. We're just halfway home for those in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett to join us in a little more than 35 minutes' time. We'll do bracketology with Shelby Mast in our bonus hour. But right now, John Wood, the lead on-course reporter for NBC and the Golf Channel, is kind enough to join us. A reminder, the Players gets underway tomorrow. NBC, Golf Channel, Peacock, thorough coverage, Thursday, Friday coverage beginning at noon, weekend coverage beginning at 1 o'clock. John, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
David, Mark, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
All right, just a personal preference. You caddied in this sucker a couple dozen times. March or May? When do you like this course better?
That's a great question. I like it this time of year. Just because I think it's a little tougher. The wind is typically more out of the north. When we had it in May, it was kind of a southerly, warmer wind. The ball went a lot farther. I think maybe it was better for the fans in May, but in terms of playability and watching guys play this golf course, I like it this time of year.
Do you like this course? I mean, I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I love the course. Do you like this course?
I love it. Absolutely love it as a caddy, as an announcer. I think it's the fairest course that the PGA Tour plays all year long. You look at the list of champions, and there's just not one type of guy on it. It's whoever plays best with every facet of their game clicking that week wins the golf tournament, and that's not always the case. So I love the course. I think it's the fairest test that we play all year long.
Okay. How much in the players' heads is 17 really?
A lot. A lot. It's, I think maybe Thursday and Friday, not so much because at that point you're kind of still treating it as just another wedge or 9-iron, 8-iron, whatever you're hitting in there. And it's, these guys are so good. If they are confident with the club's decision and the choice of shot they're hitting, they're going to hit a good shot. But when it starts coming down late Saturday and late Sunday, and there literally isn't a lead that's comfortable because of that hole. You catch the wrong wind or you catch something a little thin or hit the wrong club. All of a sudden, you're hitting the panic button. It's especially this time of year when you get the breezes up. When it was down in May, typically the wind in May was kind of a helping right to left wind, which made the hole much easier. It was gap wedges for these guys. Now with the into left to right or a hurting wind, they're having to flight 9-irons in there, flight 8-irons sometimes. And it's just a completely different animal. So, late on Saturday, late on Sunday, when you know what's on the line, it's almost more of a mental test than it is a physical test.
Who, in your estimation, is the best player in the world right now?
Jon Rahm. I would say Jon Rahm. It's so tight right now, to be honest with you, between, I think, a lot of guys, but especially those top three right now with Rahm, Scheffler, and McIlroy. You can literally flip a coin and say which one's put best, and it's going to go week by week, I think, all year long. I don't think anybody's going to hold this number one spot for an extended period of time this year, maybe a few weeks, and then it'll change hands. And I think it's going to be a fascinating year with flipping the number one player. But right now, I would have to say Jon Rahm with what he's done early this year.
He's John Wood, the lead on-course reporter for NBC and the Golf Channel. They begin their coverage of the players tomorrow. Thursday, Friday, their coverage begins at noon. On Saturday, Sunday, their coverage begins at 1 o'clock. Who's the next Max Homa, in your opinion? The guy who 3 years ago was maybe scuffling, and now he's definitely top 10 player in the world, probably top 5. Who's the guy that you think, if it was 20 years ago and I was still caddying, I'd like this guy's bag?
That's a really good question. I really like a guy named Davis Riley. He's got one of my favorite swings in golf right now. He's had some success. He's had some top 5s and top 10s. I think he's around 60th in the world or so right now. But I just love this kid's golf swing. And I think he lost in a playoff in Tampa last year to Sam Burns. But that's a guy I think, in 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to look at as one of the real good players in the game.
Is Rory going to get a major this year? We were talking a little earlier. He's become the face of the tour now. He is the guy. He is the spokesperson. He's running everything there is to do with this tour. At some point, he's got to win a major. Is this year it gets done?
Yes. I will say unequivocally yes. I think, I think taking everything that he's taken on the last couple of years with everything that's gone on in golf, I was so impressed with not only his willingness to do that, take it on his shoulders and be the leader for the PGA Tour, but he also played some really good golf. And I think now that everything is kind of settled down and it's going to be all about golf again, I think he's probably breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief right now that all that should be behind us right now. And he can just start playing golf again. I just think the world of the guy, and I think he's going to win one this year. I would bet money on it.
John, in your 24 years caddying on tour, you've caddied for top 10 players in the world like Hunter Mahan and Matt Kuchar, and you've caddied for rank and file guys. All right, the revamped tour going forward, how is it really going over? Obviously, top 60, top 70 player in the world. How could you not like it? But, there's actually more guys not top 60, top 70 on tour than there are. How is this going to play going forward?
I think for the fans, it's going to be fantastic. 100% fantastic. You look at the designated events that we've had this year, and they've all been phenomenal. Heavy hitters at the top, fighting it out. it's been incredible. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that because those guys are going to show up and play against each other more often. My deal in golf, whenever somebody, it complains about the situation or complains about the format of something, golf is so unique that you don't need a coach for playing time. You don't need a scout to say, I think this guy's got some potential. You don't need an agent to get you a big money contract. It's on you. So if you don't like it, the easy answer is go play better, and you will like it. It's not like these guys, were picked out of a hat to play in the designated events. This wasn't luck. These guys have played the best golf over a long period of time, and that's why they're playing in those events. But the guys who aren't in there now, there's no reason, there's nothing holding you back from playing in those events except for you. If you play great golf, you're there. So I think the tour is doing a great thing in catering more to the big name players, the guys who sell tickets, the guys who bring eyes to the television set. And I think it's a good thing in the long run.
Do you think James Hahn was an outlier, or do you think there are a lot more of the rank and file that feel the way he did and really aren't saying it?
I think there's probably a lot of guys who feel that way, but I think if they really dig down deep, they know that if they change it or make it more, easier for the rank and file, the higher rank, lower rank guys, that's kind of just giving things away for no reason for at this level, average golf. I think deep down they all realize, hey, I got to play better, period. If I don't play better, that's on me. So I think there's probably a lot of people who feel that way, but they know the deal. And, every other sport, the highest play, the best players make the most money. And, golf's just kind of moving in that direction more, I think.
Is there a type of player that plays better on this course? Because we all know the type of player that plays well at Augusta. And, we know the type of player who consistently plays well in U.S. Opens. But, the list of winners is all over the place with this event. And even some guys who have won have only had one or two really good finishes and 15 awful ones. So I'm just curious, is there a type of player that you think plays well at the Players?
I think it's not a physical thing here in my mind. I mean, you just listed all those guys who've won. In my mind, it's guys who can handle the mental test and the emotional test of this golf course, because there's a lot of courses you play, you get some holes off here and there. You think, okay, this one, I can just skate walk through this one. That hole doesn't exist out here. And you're going to hit some shots out here that maybe technically that are fair. I mean, you hit a good shot that might not turn out because the wind turns around right in the middle of your swing, or you get a bad bounce. But the guys who can handle that and just say, okay, Tiger, I think, was the best of all time at that. Wherever his ball ended up, his fault or somebody else's fault, he'd find it and just hit it again, kind of emotionless. So I think the guys who are toughest mentally do well on this course, and that's who this course suits.
Since you were a longtime caddy before you went into broadcasting, what's the number one thing that you think, when you were on the bag for a win, was it reading greens or was it keeping your guy calm? What was it that you think was the best number one thing you had to do?
I think keeping your guy in the right frame of mind. Obviously, if he's near the lead, he's playing well, period. You can't fake it. So the physical part is there, obviously. But I think the best caddies, the Joe LaCavas, the Paul Tesoris, the Bones, they really focus on, Teddy Scott, who works for Scotty Scheffler. I think they're the X's and O's are one thing. They're all getting right yardages. Most of the time, they're giving good advice in terms of the club. But there's an X factor in those guys in that they are paying attention to their players' personalities. Are they walking faster? Are they talking faster? Are they walking with their head down? Are they doubting every time they hit a shot? Are they taking longer to hit a shot? Those guys are noticing those things and mentally figuring out ways to handle it, whether it's to talk about something else in between shots and kind of make it a little lighter or joke around or to get in their face occasionally, honestly, and say, hey, look, quit moping around. You're a great player. Let's go. I think that's what separates the good caddies from the great caddies.
John, have a great week. Enjoy the players. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for watching. It'll be a great week.
John Wood, part of NBC, the Golf Channel, and Peacock's coverage. Thursday, Friday, it begins at noon. Saturday, Sunday, it begins at 1 o'clock. The players, the so-called fifth major.
The defending champ will have to buy a ticket to this event if he wants to go. Said he might.
He lives 8 minutes away. He plays practice rounds there. Good friends with the pro and the groundskeeper and everything.
Maybe he'll cut the greens over the course of the weekend. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. Seth Everett in 25 minutes right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burger, and Tiki Bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I didn't even see. I just saw Brady's tweet from yesterday. Anybody that thinks I have time to come back has never adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. It's fantastic.
Good morning, T. Haynes. Or Thanes. All right, T. We could do that Wednesday 8 o'clock thing going forward, can't we?
Absolutely.
What I'm going to try to do, it's easy when NBC is televising. What I'm going to say to them is that, listen, even when it switches back over and it's a CBS event, oftentimes the Thursday, Friday stuff's on the Golf Channel. I mean, still want your, want your people. You got anything here?
I do not.
Okay.
I've been looking for something fun. Did you see Brady sent out a tweet yesterday?
It was awesome.
Anybody that thinks I have time to come back has not adopted a 2-month-old kitten for their daughter. That's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Ten seconds.
Yeah, RCB, it's all about bonus money.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Seth Everett to join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Thanks so much for being with us. Did you see Brady's tweet yesterday?
Loved it.
And his social media, ever since he left New England and he went to Tampa, don't know who he hired. Don't know if he still got people on the payroll handling social media. I'm guessing he does. It's good. He's funny.
Right. Witty.
Self-deprecating.
Uh-huh.
For being a superstar. Arguably the sport's biggest ever. Man. So, there's all this talk of, Brady's going to unretire. And, Rich Eisen said it was one of his top 5 rumors coming back from the combine. And, the Dolphins still haven't picked up the 5th-year option on Tua. If he gets hurt, Brady lives there, They're just going to pick up the phone. They're going to call him. That's what the thought is around the league. One more concussion and Brady's a Dolphin. Remember, it nearly happened last year. And listen, it could all be true.
But he claims adopting a cat for his daughter is too time-consuming for a comeback. I love it.
Right. So that tweet says, listen, you guys think I got nothing going on. I just adopted a 2-year-old kitten for my teenage daughter. My life is full. I can barely handle this. You guys want me to think about playing? get it.
But you're right. I mean, not revamping a career, but revamping a personality from leaving New England. All started going on the Stern Show and letting loose there, and his PR people have been great ever since.
By the way, we had a question as to why it is that Brady's counting $35 million against the Bucs cap this year. It's because when they did his last contract, his cap hit last year was $11.9 million. Think about that. His cap hit was $11.9 million. Now, how did they do that? Well, they spread out bonus money. Now, it's not the money he put in the bank last year. He put a lot more than that. But they gave him here you go. Then when you retire or get cut, all the future signing bonus stuff, that has to go immediately onto the cap. Well, this year he was supposed to get a nearly $8 million signing bonus. Same with 24 and 25 and 2.8 in 2026. So you got to throw it all on the cap. You add it all up, $35,104,000.
And that's why Kyle Trask is the Buccaneers quarterback. I mean,
Right.
that's it. They are literally hitting the reset button. And that's why you and I have been talking about this for a while. But what does Tampa do with players that they have under contract? Is it time to look to trade some players? Is it time to rebuild this?
So they're $55 million over. They're going to move on from Lenny. That's going to save them around $6 million. They announced yesterday they're moving on from Donovan Smith. That's going to save them this year's cap $10 million. $8 million dead cap hit, but he was scheduled to make nearly 18. So they're saving 10. They're going to move on from Cameron Brate. That's going to save them like 4. So basically the money they've still yet to account for, according to our math, is the Brady money. They've cut 20 of the 55. Cameron Brate, Leonard Fournette, Donovan Smith. Now they got to work on the Brady 35.
And that's where the restructuring gets into place.
Right.
Look to see Tampa try to rework some deals next week for some guys.
Yep.
And kick the can down the road a little bit further.
Turn contracts into bonus money. Owner's got to take some money out of his pocket, give it to the players up front, and then, yes, kick. And obviously what you want to do is kick the can down the road with players you think you're going to have down the road. That's why, if the Bucs, we brought this up the other day, now would be the time to do the long-term deal with Devin White. Of course, the problem is you've got a week to do it. That's if you want to do a long-term deal with Devin White. Because then you could actually lower his cap hit for this year and have him long-term, which would be good, spread out the signings and all that. If you're the Bucs, quite frankly, a guy who's going to go into their Ring of Honor, I don't think he's definitely a Ring of Honor guy. Lavonte David. He's the leader of your defense. Still a very good player. Not the great player he was when you won the Super Bowl, but still a very good player. And consistently better than Devin White, in my opinion. What do you do? How many more years does Lavonte David have? I think he's only got 1 year left on his contract. Bite the bullet now? That's a tough cut, by the way. That's a tough one.
But if you are trying to, in a short period of time, retool this football team, get cap friendly, and get yourself positioned to win in 24, 25, 26, these are the hard moves that you have to make.
So,
So that's kind of where we think the Bucs are and what they need to be doing looking forward. And a little explanation as to how they got into the predicament that they're in with the dead cap money with Tom Brady. 21,000. That is the text line. If you agree, disagree, or have thoughts of your own on the Tampa Bay Bucs, love to hear them there. Seth Everett coming up in about 10 minutes time. Shelby Mast coming up in the bonus hour, only available in the 239. If you want to hear Shelby's comments on what's going on bracket-wide, be a good time to join us on twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton.
Like talking about kicking the can with Levante David. Okay. If they don't do something with Levante in the next week, then he can become a free agent. But they have to absorb a $7 million cap hit. Well, do you want him or not? And if so, you could rework a deal with him and probably cut that $7 million down to 2 or 3 for this year. Saves you 5 of the 30 million. So, I've already said, if I'm Tampa Bay, I'm bottoming out this year. We took our 3-year run. We made the playoffs 3 straight years. That's not a small accomplishment in the history of the Tampa Bay Bucks, by the way. They'd done it once before. That's it. They'd won 6 playoff games, period, before this 3-year run. They won 5 playoff games during the 3-year run. Won their Super Bowl. Thank you very much. Going to bottom out. I can win this division in 2024. I really can. But I got to bottom out in 2023.
Yeah, because where's the threat in the division? There is none right now. Carr's the best quarterback in the division.
Also, it's also guaranteed that this is the first time in 50 years in the NFL, by the way, that all the quarterbacks in the division will be different the next year. I mean, it's guaranteed. Baker Mayfield was a starter in Carolina. Jameis, Brady, okay, and Mariota. You got to go back to like the AFC West in 74, the last time something like this happened. But, I'm willing to trade Mike Evans, trade Devin White, walk away from Levante David. I'm willing to do things like that. It doesn't seem like Tampa Bay is willing to do it. Would you do it, Mark?
Absolutely. It's time to tear this down. There's no other place for them to go. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
My boys.
What's up,
Hey,
Seth?
man.
Hi,
What's
Seth.
going on?
I didn't realize your birthday was what?
Yeah,
Yesterday,
happy
the day
belated
before?
birthday. Monday?
Oh, thanks, boys. Saturday, yeah.
Saturday? Okay, I saw it on LinkedIn or something like that. You have your birthday record.
LinkedIn. I didn't realize my birthday was on LinkedIn.
That's how I found it. It happened to
Wow.
Seth Everett's birthday. And I'm like, wow,
Wow.
I almost sent you a text. I was so
Thanks.
excited.
You almost did.
I almost did.
Thanks.
Then
I
said,
almost thank you. What's the word?
Thunderbird.
Bird is the word.
The Brady thing was clutch because I got a late call yesterday. Somebody was like ill or something, so I had to do Florida, Georgia, and Virginia sports updates like quick. Like I only had like 20 minutes to get them ready. And that Brady thing came up clutch. I cut, paste, and I put it in all 3 markets. I was like, thank you.
You mean the tweet?
Yeah, there was a story.
Yeah.
It was news. It worked.
Okay.
25 years of hating the guy. Let him make my life easy for an afternoon.
How you going to feel about Aaron Rodgers?
I'm open to watching a train wreck. There's no question it will be just a big cluster blank. And when Derek Carr signed with the Saints, the Jets kind of have to go all in because that's their situation, right? They need to make a big splash. If they have a good team, they need an upgrade at quarterback. He's an upgrade over the Mormon Wonder. So I'm in for it. I'll pay attention. I wanted to tweet. I got into a Twitter spat with a bunch of Michael Jackson fans this weekend. So I'm not up for multiple fights with people on social media because it's just that's not my nature. But I wanted to say when I saw the story that the Jets were meeting with Rodgers, I wanted to say, was it in the dark? Like, did they shut the lights when they met?
Yeah, and I think they all had those minor flashlights on their heads to talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
see. So you went the whole Chris Rock line.
Yeah, I did the Chris Rock.
So yeah.
The R. Kelly, Mark. I thought it was funny. And all I said was I thought it was funny.
It was funny.
It was funny. I don't take it. I didn't take it back. But the Michael Jackson nuts went bananas.
Selective outrage. I thought Chris Rock was pretty solid. I laughed hard.
The best line I thought, well, the Michael Jackson R. Kelly line was the best. The best line was the Lululemon. When they say how they're not racist, so you can get $100 non-racist yoga pants. But I think everybody in the room would have liked $20 racist yoga pants. I went to Devils Maple Leafs last night.
Did you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Good game.
It was a good game. Crappy ending.
Well, for you.
Yes.
One of the
Carolina
best players in the world
keeps
scored a
winning.
goal. They're good.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Sunday. We're trying to go.
They play Carolina Sunday?
Sunday, yep. But they play Saturday night in Montreal. So, and that's customs and everything. So that's a late night. That's a second half of a back-to-back. It's not a good setup for Carolina. Carolina's going to steamroll us, I think. But we're going to try to go. See what
Carolina play Saturday?
I don't know. We play in DC on Thursday.
We do, huh?
Carolina hosts Vegas on Saturday.
Yeah. No, my luck, that'll be a day game on NBC, not NBC, on TNT or ESPN or whatever.
7 o'clock.
10 seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour is up. This day and time of the week. That means Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and Tech Stream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. He is a proud Syracuse alum, and despite the woes of their basketball team, he is wearing his Syracuse t-shirt, dreaming the impossible dream of an ACC tournament run.
Yeah, right.
In all seriousness, you've got a longtime legendary coach. He's been there too long.
Too long.
But, you know, I mean, Florida State fans listening, they went through this with Bobby Bowden. You know, I mean, you hope actually as a fan of your favorite college team that you get to go through this at some point in time. It means you've had a legendary run.
Oh, no, I don't take anything away from his legacy. You know, Syracuse beat Wake in the regular season finale on Saturday. They play Wake again in the 8-9 game today. They can beat that game. Then they play Miami tomorrow.
Okay, right. Seth, nobody
They're not
cares
winning
about
that.
Syracuse in the ACC tournament. My point is, okay, so what is it that you and your fellow Syracuse people in the media who talk to one another all the time?
All the time.
It's
a never-ending text chain.
Exactly. Guys really need to go on vacation and have a Snickers and take a nap. But what is it that you want to see done? You know, like Florida State fan was really torn for a long time. And then finally the plan was kind of put together, Jimbo, 3 years, blah, blah, blah. And they still forced him out a year early. What is it that you guys want to see done?
Oh, I would love for him to announce at the end of either today or tomorrow, because they could win today, and just say, Jerry McNamara's the new coach. We'll see ya. or announce that he's going to go through one more run. And, you know, college basketball is in such disarray with this transfer portal. Just go on a fact finding, you know, and just load up on a bunch of juniors, you know, and just kind of do a work for hire kind of thing and make a nice little, you know, farewell season where they return to respectability and let him go out on his own kind of terms. But one of those two things, either way, it's awkward. It feels awkward. They're just the team is barely treading water and it's not doing anything. So there's no vision. In college basketball, you know, is in that state of flux. This transfer portal, to me, no team has any flow to it. So, you know, as a fan, I don't know from one year to the next. What I do as a fan is I introduce myself to the team in the beginning of the year, and you know they have this freshman guard that I'm kind of interested in, but I don't think he's going to be there. And my reasoning is I don't think he's going to the NBA, but I don't think he's going to be in Syracuse next year.
It is really difficult to follow. I mean, you know, college football is one thing because it's just more about the pads and the coach and the quarterback to a lesser extent. But you're right, college hoop, which it is all the coach. And now with the transfer portal, the coach has been limited, or in Boeheim's case, I don't think he's not wanted to jump in the portal the way others have.
Correct. And, you know, he snapped at some students in a press conference twice this year. He just seems like he's out of touch. And I think the time has come. And I do think he deserves all of his accolades. You know, I don't want to waste time on your segment, but give him all of his vacated wins back because I think that's stupid. But just let him go. Let him they've already named the court after him. Put a big banner with his wins. Do whatever you want to do, but move on.
Didn't know that we were going to go down this road, but the new president of the NCAA, to me, is interesting for two reasons. First off, he's not Mark Emmert, who was just a clown.
Right.
All right. But secondly, he's a politician. Here's why I think this could be a good thing. What is it that the NCAA and a lot of people in college athletics, guys, think needs to happen? They need some help from Congress. They need some legislation. Now, they may be wrong, and it may not be forthcoming, but I actually think if you need help from the politicians, probably not a bad thing to have a former politician be the one reaching out saying, hey, could use a little help here.
Yeah, but when it was my birthday and I was getting all the birthday texts from people who actually texted, the people, a couple of college basketball insiders, who I'm not going to name drop, we had this conversation, and their argument is it's not broke. The value of the NCAA tournament has never been higher. And so, I've had this conversation on my podcast. I've had it with you guys. The regular season has diminished and the tournament has blown up. They don't care. The tournament is alive and well. The tournament's going to be a massive success from a media standpoint, from a sales standpoint, from a merchandising standpoint. And the three of us could be on the championship team and nobody cares. Nobody cares about the players. The players are not marketed. It's the jerseys, it's the teams, and it's the gambling. And that's all college basketball has become. And so from a fan of a team standpoint, what I feel badly for are the North Carolina fans and the people in the college only town, the Lexington, Kentucky fans, the people who their whole sports city revolves around this college town and these college teams. They have a void. But college basketball on its own is not broken because the NCAA tournament is thriving.
Well, it's interesting that you say that too, because they're trying to break it, to me, because they're talking about expanding the tournament. I'm curious with your college basketball people that you talk to, where they stand on expanding this thing, because Seth, to us, it would be death.
Yeah, I didn't ask that. If I had gotten a text from you, maybe I would have asked that.
That comment, it was Seth's birthday over the weekend. I noticed it on social media. I thought about texting him. I said, I'll just wait till Wednesday and wish him happy birthday then. Apparently, I could never do that again.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to text hi every Wednesday just to make sure he knows that I care.
Well, Seth, like we have already established, though, since you Syracuse media types have this, 731 people involved in this text chain, and all you do is just talk amongst yourselves, you'd just be the one to bring it up next time. I mean, it'll go on for days.
Yeah, Tarico would be like, who's this?
But he would respond.
Yeah, he would.
Because that's Mike Tirico.
Go Orange.
He would respond.
Go Orange.
Okay, from the players, he would respond.
What time is your podcast air?
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice, and text stream. Follow him on Twitter at Seth_Everett. Hey, have you heard anything more? 2 weeks ago, we had the big discussion about Bally's and it's going dark and then the whole deal. Have you heard anything specific from anybody as to what they're going to do? I mean, the deadline's coming up here. Opening day's 3 weeks tomorrow.
Yeah, it's much more complicated than I can do it justice for. What they're trying to do, and the reason why they haven't officially filed for bankruptcy, is they're trying to renegotiate deals. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get another sports outlet to take on the contracts. First, they were trying to do it at the regular price. That wasn't going to happen. Now they're trying to negotiate some kind of a hybrid price. Baseball wants to own the rights and air the games themselves. My interest in the whole thing is what happens to the broadcasters, the production people, the camera people, who puts these games together. Apple has just announced that they have this new in-house, no blackouts, completely in-house MLS. It's called Season Pass.
Right.
And they own every game. They're doing a very Premier League style where on a typical day, let's say there's 5 MLS games, they put team 1 on one game, team 2 on game 2, and so on and so forth. There's not a Arsenal announcer, a Liverpool announcer, a Manchester United announcer. That's the model. They don't have home announcers. And what the MLS is trying to mimic that. In baseball, if MLB gets that, are they going to put Angels announcers on the Angels games? Are they going to put Tigers announcers on the Tigers game? Or Are they going to just have MLB announcers on all of this stuff? And where are those announcers coming from? Who's paying them? The other thing that's not getting reported is everybody's so concerned because opening day is, 3 weeks away, of where are our fans going to get the games. I am very confident, talking to enough people in this thing on my birthday, the idea that the games will be available. If you want to watch
Where?
somewhere, meaning what it's probably going to be is an MLB Productions broadcast, and it's going to be available on certain cable systems. It will definitely be available online. It will definitely be available online. It'll be on some streaming service, probably MLB.tv. The idea is no one is talking about the lost revenue. And I'm not doing a podcast on this yet because it's so fluid. It would be outdated the minute we did it. I don't understand, if you are a team, one of the 16 teams that is not being carried by a soon-to-be bankrupt network, how you are not putting tens of millions of dollars into your payroll and calling up every one of these teams that is suddenly strapped for cash and trying to get those players. Because if you are going to have a league where half the league is making their payroll and half the league is not, the teams that are like the Baltimore Orioles and the Washington Nationals, just as an example, which are making their full regional sports network money, have no excuse not to win at least 90 games this year.
Yeah, except the Nats suck.
I know.
But besides that, also they're for sale.
I know.
All right, which is a bit of and actually this whole demise of the regional cable system is affecting the Nats sale, the Angels sale, and others.
My buddy Wayne Randazzo, who left the Mets radio to go become an Angels announcer, I found out his contract is with the team, so he works for the team. But everyone in his production crew that's not an announcer works for the network.
Correct. They're all freelancers.
They're all out of work.
Seth, don't these Bally Sports still cover NHL first round too? What happens to games like that?
What I've been told is that for the NBA and the NHL, the payments have all been made. So that everything for this NBA and NHL season, anything that's on a regional network is going to air.
So the regional network isn't going to cease to exist in the next,
from what I understand, it's not going to cease to exist. It's just they may lose the rights. So for example, Bally's Dallas is going to lose the rights to the Texas Rangers. Gotcha. If they shutter their doors, if they completely shut down, then the Dallas Stars playoff game will air somewhere. And if I remember correctly, all 4 rounds are national somewhere. I think they were last year. All 4 rounds in the NHL, at least, were on national TV somewhere, if I remember correctly. I can't quote me on that because I haven't made the playoffs in 4 years, so I don't know.
All right. We got 60 seconds. Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice text stream.
It's easy. Hall of Justice is still, we have 2 more weeks till we can come back. We're going to come back on the 23rd of March with Shazam 2, Electric Boogaloo. We're doing some really neat things. We have a new partnership that I'm ready to announce. I can't yet. It's so cool. You'll believe a man can fly. How about that? I'll say that it's so amazing. Tech Stream returns next week. That we had some stuff under the hood that we had to iron out, similar to the problem with the Hall of Justice, but Tech Stream returns next week. Sports with Friends today is International Women's Day. I want to celebrate with you all, celebrate the women that you know. We have Olympic silver medalist Devin Logan. She's a freestyle skier. She won silver in Sochi in 2014. She's part of a new ski and snowboard group called Heroic. She is fantastic. It is an inspiring conversation, just an amazing person. And she is my guest on Sports with Friends this week, Devin Logan, on the podcast. She was amazing.
Seth Everett, thanks for your time, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Follow him on
Go
Twitter
Orange.
at Seth_Everett. I sat next to an Olympic softball player on the way back on a flight on Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, won a silver medal in Tokyo. She's had a hell of a career. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Your party's not here. You're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. their doubleheader of hockey is Red Wings Bruins on Saturday, Penguins Flyers. That's just awful.
I got to admit,
I get putting the Bruins on.
Yeah, obviously. And 2 original 6s, and they rate, and fine.
But Flyers, Pens, or Rangers, Sabres? I'd go Rangers, Sabres.
Is it in Buffalo?
It is.
Also, Patrick Kane going back home.
It's at 5:00 on Saturday.
Gonzaga has not won the NCAA tournament. No, Canada Relief. They've lost in the finals twice. Adam, this tournament's a total crapshoot. The Cinderella story, so to speak, the Hollywood story, I should say, not Cinderella. The Hollywood story is Houston. Final Four is in Houston. There'll be a number 1 seed. Nance, the University of Houston alum, calling his Final Four.
Ten seconds.
I actually think UCLA's got a real shot.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
With the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on this hump day, final hour of the week for Mark. Got a member guest the next 2 days. Apparently his golf game's in shambles, but it doesn't matter.
No, my drinking game is tremendous, though. Man.
Curious, does the drinking game get more tremendous as the golf game gets more shambles? What leads to what?
Well, I'm hoping, I had a good range session yesterday. I feel better today than I did yesterday. But it's finding that for me, it's like, the guy that plays pool with 3-4 beers and he gets to that zone. You got to keep it in the right zone for this, because this is park the car after the show and don't grab the keys again until Sunday. This is golf carts only for me for the next 3 days. I won't be near a vehicle. So it's to see if I can still do it. This week every year is to see if I can still hang at a pace that I was able to hang at in my 20s and 30s. I can't do it for the length of time that I used to be able to, but I think I still have a good 3-4 days in me.
Are you talking about golf or drinking?
Yes.
Obviously, that means drinking. Obviously. Listen, you should be able to at the club. Aren't you one of the younger guys there?
Still am.
If you can't hang with the guys at the club, don't get me wrong. They are pros at it. They've been doing it harder.
Yeah, they're retired. Don't kid yourself. They do this every day. This is just another,
Right.
We're going to go at it today. Today, what is today? Monday. So what?
Another day that ends in Y. I'm in. Got it. So it'll be Felipe and I in the studio. Yes, I'm getting on the road, heading it back to the 239 for nearly 48 hours. Got some business to attend to on Thursday. And so the next 2 days, young Felipe and I, who I believe we're breaking new ground, he will have his own camera.
No caterpillar on my face this time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got the
Yeah,
clean-
but you've got a fro that is like 1977-ish going.
Yeah, real bird's nest kind of vibe.
Have you taken a look at some of the late 70s baseball cards with like Bake McBride and UL Washington, because you've got a fro thing going on right now that if we put a baseball cap on you, you might be a picture we could post on Super 70 Sports.
He did have an Al Bunbury thing going on yesterday with that Orioles hat. I will say, now that I think about it.
That's fantastic.
I'm jealous of Felipe's hair. He is great. You know, he thinks we're making fun. You look at Felipe and see yourself as a young man with that hair.
Totally, because that's what I was.
Right.
Right. I didn't blow dry my hair. I just washed it, towel dried it. It was naturally very wavy. So when I let it grow long, it froed up. My nickname for a couple years was Sanchez. Okay. And that's how I wore my hair, to suit my nickname. And I had, by the way, Felipe had the caterpillar on the lip too.
Yeah.
Okay. But my caterpillar was thicker than yours, though. It was actually a stash.
David had a great stash.
Especially for my age.
Really and truly, you had a great stash.
I mean, it wasn't, for my age, it was Selleck-esque. Okay. I mean, you know, when we first got to meet Tom Selleck, he was already late 20s, early 30s. But I mean, my late teens, early 20s, I had a very good stash to be that young. It's why I was the fake ID guy. I was the one that got all the booze.
Big help with the ID. If
had a car, had a stash, had a fake ID. I was money.
Did your mom ever find your fake ID?
Oh, come on. I mean, she's a Catholic mom. Like, she doesn't know there's drinking going on. I went to a Jesuit school, for goodness sakes. Okay, like, she doesn't think there's drinking going on.
Oh, so this was in college that you had the fake ID. You didn't have the fake ID in high school.
No stash in high school, actually. I don't believe the stash started, until college.
So you came home unannounced with the stash. Did mom give you the look of,
oh, what the heck's that on your lip? Shave that thing. And I'm like, no,
I'm cool.
And she said, why? And I said, because I get the beer.
How far off were you from getting grandfathered in to the drinking age of 8?
I kept missing it. It was spectacular. My birthday's December 19th. And it would be one of those deals where either I would miss it by 12 days, okay, or what happened to me, and I forget if it happened to me in college because Pennsylvania changed. I think it happened to me in Jersey. I turned a certain age on December 19th, but they were changing their drinking age as of January 1st, so I was only legal for 12 days.
Oh, what a kick in the stones.
Dang.
Yeah, so I remember coming home for college and saying to mom, I got to go out every night. I go, because I only got a week and a half.
That's tough.
Yep.
Also,
and Jersey was a lot tougher in terms of IDing you and at the door and what have you, because, you know, they dealt with a lot more New Yorkers. You know, Northeast Pennsylvania, I mean, you know, unless you looked 15, you had a better than 50-50 shot. I mean, you really did. I mean, it was a local economy. You wanted to contribute to it. They wanted to take your money. I mean, it was an understanding.
I know the place that we always bought beer. You know, you went to the other side of town to buy beer, and the only place that would sell it to you, and they kind of just looked at you how your age was and what they charged you. Yeah, he looks 16. We'll charge $20 for that 12-pack. He's not going to say anything because it's the only place that'll sell it to him.
I have no idea if it's still the same. And I went to college 40 years ago, but at the time you had to go to a different place to get your liquor. You went to a certain place, the distributor, to get the beer, and then you had to go to a liquor store to get the liquor. You could be 16 and get the beer. Okay, the liquor store was you had to have game in the liquor
store too, right?
Yes, exactly. You had to have game at the liquor store.
I only had that happen to me once where they overcharged me. I was getting a handle of Tito's. I paid $60.
And you paid it half. You weren't 21.
Right. I was like, well,
the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
They knew what they
were
doing.
You know, kind of like the offer Lamar Jackson's going to get. Could be a little more than that handle of Tito's, but will someone give it to him?
By the way, I just looked up a picture of UL Washington. This man's got some stuff, some poof.
Some poof and a toothpick.
The kids call it lettuce.
Okay, this will date us, but we could have a poll question. All right, of which the best fro by the best player, if you know what I mean. Because, Al Bunbury, nice player. UL Washington, role player. I thought Eddie Murray, in terms of elite players, had the best fro.
I'm just trying to think of, some ABA in my head here.
Now, Reggie Jackson's fro, I mean, Reggie in the 70s, Reggie with the A's as opposed to Reggie with the Yankees.
Right.
That's most people only have Reggie with the Yankees in their head.
Where he tightened it up, but they were fast and loose with that Oakland Athletics team.
Well, also he had to shave the mustache.
Right.
The Yankees, no facial hair.
I was thinking an ABA Dr. J.
Well, I don't know if anything beats that.
I love how he gets older and the fro just like dies down, gets smaller and smaller as he ages.
You know what is remarkable in this day and age, in which obviously we're saying no more as a society lately. You need to get this shot. No. You need to do this. No. Why? Because I don't want to. The Yankees still have the policy, no facial hair. Every player goes, okay. Without hesitation. You do know you're getting traded to the Yankees. That means I got to cut my hair and shave everything on my face, right? Okay.
That's like the stupidest thing. I hate that. That makes me hate the Yankees even more.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually think it's I don't know if it's fear, intimidation, respect, whatever it is. I love the fact that in this day and age, okay, all the money that the players are making, the power they have, forcing trades, the whole deal, you do know you're on the Yankees now. You need to shave that. It was like the old Bill Walton, John Wooden story.
Right.
Well, Bill, it was nice having you on the team.
But it's 2023, and yet everybody adheres to a policy that is right out of the 60s.
Yes.
I mean, this is...
I love it. I do. And it has nothing to do with the look, and, I'm not anti-facial hair. I do think it needs to be reined in at times, but whatever.
Well, I mean, that's part of that. I don't think it's an anti-facial thing. You and I like to eat so much. That whole beard thing of getting things messed in there,
I know.
It's a cleanliness thing to me. Because I hate shaving, but I can't grow the super thick beard. It just, I can grow a beard. Right. It just doesn't look great. But I just don't like the chance of messing my, having all that food in my face.
I know. Wife and I were out with the daughter and future son-in-law the other day, and we were at a Mexican place. We were going to have nachos. I looked right at him and I go, how could you eat nachos with that thing on your face? I go, you're going to get it all over yourself.
By the way, there's only one answer for who had like the best fro and flow in the history of sports. It's Troy Polamalu.
It's up there. It's really good.
I mean, seeing that wave and
it's really good.
Wait a minute. And Felipe, that is a great answer. What did he say back? When you told him how did he eat the nachos?
He's marrying the girl. He's got a kid. I mean, like I have any say over this, I mean,
never have, never will.
Right. I mean, come on. The daughter likes it. That's all that counts.
I just want to know how he doesn't get the nachos everywhere.
I sat there watching him eat the entire time. Like, I don't know how you're going to pull this off.
Hey, there's an olive. It snuck in right over there. You don't even see it. Go to the bathroom. Fix that.
There's a jalapeno pepper on your left cheek.
Miller and Moulton. And some nachos.
And Shelby Mast next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oscar Gamble.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Man. Bobby Tolan.
I don't know who that is.
So many times I've thought about cutting it. Just can't.
You know, Indiana's never won the Big Ten tournament.
Would make sense. Adam, I'm with you. Pat definitely has a A-list mustache.
Yes.
Shelby is on hold.
Okay.
Speaking of Shelby, did you know that they make an F-150 with a Shelby Cobra engine? You know what a Shelby Cobra is?
Yes, I'm.
Yes. It's very fast. It's got like 800 horsepower. All right, let's do this.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, and for the last few weeks at this day and time, Shelby Mast has been kind enough to give us 10 minutes of his time. He is the bracketologist for collegeinsider.com, and also he's done his own thing for years at bracketwag.com, bracketwag.com. Follow him on Twitter at bracketwag. Shelby, it's David and Mark once again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Well, we're doing fine. Although it doesn't seem as if in these small conference tournaments, which we've been following very closely, has there been a single bid that's been stolen yet?
Not yet. And I think the only one left that could be is Conference USA with Florida Atlantic. I think they're in no matter what. And maybe UAB or North Texas can win the tournament and they get two teams.
So for the teams still trying to get bids in your last four in, like Wisconsin, the win today doesn't put them in, does it?
It avoids them from falling out. A loss today would be bad, but a win doesn't secure anything. It just keeps them alive.
By the way, someone asked a question in our Twitch chat room earlier. So you don't believe VCU, which has 24 wins, they could win 2 games, get to the conference final, they'd have 26 wins. Say they lost in the A-10 final. VCU's not an at-large team to you, are they?
No. I'd like for them to be in as an at-large, but I just can't see it with the other bubble teams having better resumes, not blowing them out better, but they're slightly better. And we discussed that. We did a mock committee last weekend, and we focused on VCU a lot, and the consensus was no.
And for the record, Mark, VCU's net's in the mid-60s for those that use that stat.
Michigan and Rutgers will play each other tomorrow in a first-round Big Ten game. How many more wins do they need than just beating the other?
It might be a situation where they need to at least get to the finals of the Big Ten tournament, and that may not be enough. The committee is going to have all their teams set and seated by Saturday night. So a Sunday result may not matter unless it's a win.
So even though Rutgers is on your first 4 out list, and Michigan is on your next 4 out list. So if Rutgers beats Michigan, to you, that doesn't move them in. But what if they got one more after that?
They'll move closer probably, but it's awful tough. Rutgers has an injury issue with a player who won't be back, and since he's been out, they have not looked good. And so the committee is going to take that into account, knowing full well that the player will not be back. And so I don't think 2 wins would do it for Rutgers. Maybe 3, but other things have to play out on the bubble as well.
So, I mean, basically, you have the Big Ten with 9. It doesn't really look like there's much of a way for it to get to 8. It's a better chance of it getting to 10 than it is to 8, isn't it, Shelby?
Well, if Penn State's not secure, I got them as my next to last in, and Wisconsin both in that play-in game. If they were to lose, especially Wisconsin, I think they're playing Nebraska, or Minnesota. That would be a really bad loss at a bad time, and they would probably be out.
He's Shelby Mast, collegeinsider.com, bracketwag.com. Follow him on Twitter at bracketwag, W-A-G. Okay. ACC. I think, by the way, it's ridiculous. The Big Ten's going to get nearly twice as many bids as the ACC, for the record. I think both conferences are very mediocre. But we just played the game with Michigan and Rutgers. Let's play the game with North Carolina and Clemson. How many ACC tournament wins do they need, or do they need to win the last game?
I think they probably have to win the tournament, both of them. I know in that case, only one can. But I think getting to the finals, they're not beating enough good teams along the way. There's not a marquee team that stands out. Miami and Virginia are closest, but I don't think that's enough to get them in the tournament. Clemson might be able to get to the finals of the ACC if they beat one of the good teams along the way, but Carolina, I feel, is going to win it all.
If Purdue and UCLA both win their respective tournaments, who gets the final 1 seed?
Probably Purdue. UCLA has an injury issue that would hold them back, and Purdue is up there at number 1, and I can't see knocking them to 2 by winning their tournament.
You've got Miami as a 5. I have to admit, to me, if you're a 4 or a 5, I know you get a slightly easier first-round game and technically second-round game. But can Miami get all the way to a 3 seed or no?
No, I don't think so. I think they're too good above Miami. Those 3 seeds are pretty set, and they'd have to jump the 4 seeds as well.
I know you don't get into predicting who wins, but on your 12 line, you've got some pretty good teams. Who do you think's the best team out of the Oral Roberts, Toledo, Charleston, Drake foursome?
I think probably Oral Roberts is. None of those teams would be in unless they won their conference tournament, and that's too bad because, God, Charleston 31 wins, and they'd be sitting home. That's I don't like that, but that's the way they would do it, and but that's going to be some very entertaining games.
Well, I'm going to throw this out there right now. Drake's going to win a game. Last time they were in, they won a game. They beat Wichita State. They're experienced, they're well coached, and they have a better best player this time than they had last time when they went to the tournament. Just throwing that out there. 27-win Drake from the Missouri Valley is going to win a game. Is there anybody we're not talking about that we should be? Either, like, to me, if Illinois or Maryland lose first round, can they play their way out? Is there a team that's more in danger to you than people are talking about? Like Auburn. If Auburn's one and done in the SEC tournament, can they be out?
I don't think so because they play a good team in the first round, so that helps. If they were to play one of the low end South Carolina, for instance, if they were to play them and lose, that would be more harmful than losing to Arkansas.
When you look at your 3 and 4 line, who do you like the best? Because this is a wide open tournament. Is there a team that maybe didn't do enough to get to a 2 seed, but you think's really dangerous heading into the tournament?
After watching them last night, Gonzaga looked awful tough. They're flirting with the 2 line, but I don't see them getting up there. But that's a dangerous team and experienced, well coached. Everybody knows Gonzaga. But Drew Timme is a senior, and he wants to go out on top.
Mark, he's got your Spartans as a 7 seed, veteran backcourt. They're a sleeper pick in the Big Ten tournament. And just, it is March after all. And, March, Izzo, just throwing it out there.
It's crazy.
Shelby, thanks for your time and your insight. We appreciate it as always.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
BracketWag.com, collegeinsiders.com. Follow him on Twitter, BracketWag, WAG. He's Shelby Mast.
This tournament, the first weekend could be just spectacular. Because what you're getting with these 12 seeds, as you point out, Drake, they're an experienced team. Charleston's an experienced team. These teams that wouldn't have gotten the tournament because no one will play them, they've got a chip on their shoulder. They're going to be right there. The 5-13 game or the 4-13 games and the 5-12 games are going to be spectacular.
Well, I will say it's why I mentioned Miami. I do think this year, like if you look at the difference between the 12 line and the 13 line, Okay. Mark, I'll tell you what. I'll take his 412s right now. Oral Roberts, Toledo, Charleston, and Drake. I'll take them all. Straight up. And so you don't want to be in the 5-12 matchup. You want to be in the 4-13 this year.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you again.
False alarm. False alarm.
What?
You were getting ready to.
Oh, yeah. 3 times I thought I was sneezing there. What the heck? Come on.
Yeah. I got the sniffles as well.
David, I'm going to leave Felipe my backpack, which has the cameras in it, and it also in the back of it are March 9, March 10.
Ooh.
Today was the day when.
Look at that.
Wasn't a whole lot, but.
Oh, boy.
The Players is called the Players Championship.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Huh. Trees make the best TP during pollen season, huh? Good to know, Adam.
Did one of you just call my name or someone from the hallway? I don't know. I just heard Felipe, and I'm like, huh? No, Adam, I think it's the red tide. I could be wrong. God, it sucks. You can't catch any fish. It's impossible. Water's still freaking contaminated as all hell. One minute. Ten seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes till the top of the hour, 17 until we're out of here." Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. The bonus hour on this hump day. Mark is off tomorrow and Friday. Felipe and I will handle things. I'll even get on the road and do so in the studio, where I'll be ready to throw a pen at the glass if he falls asleep.
Yeah, I take a couple days off and then you come to town.
Yeah. Don't laugh. You had told me that you had the member guest and what days you had it. And I thought, this is going to be problematic. They're just two different things and probably be better if we're together, and I'll need some help and, could communicate better if I'm there. And so I scheduled the meeting with the tax lawyer, and we scheduled a few other things, scheduled it all around your member guest.
The best part is David's coming to town. We are friends, good friends. David's one of my best friends.
Yes.
I will not see him the entire time he's here.
No, never even considered it.
The only way that I'll see him is if there's a meltdown tomorrow morning and they need me to come in to set something up.
Don't say that.
No, that's it. That would be the reason. I mean, if the phone rings at 5:30, 5:45, I'll be up.
We're staring at each other 4 hours and 15 minutes a day.
I understand. Just
like we need
personally.
Like we need to have a beer and an appetizer together. We've had
There's always room for an appetizer.
I don't stop there. Yes. But do we need it? Do we need it?
No, I'm just merely pointing out that you're coming to town.
Correct.
We do a show. Both our names are on the show.
Right.
And we're not going to see one another when you come to town.
I'm not seeing our former producer. I'm not seeing Gary Danielson. I'm not seeing anybody.
Mark,
this is a business trip.
Mark, it's a business trip.
It's always a business trip.
No, not necessarily.
Fine. You want to do business? Let's do business.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Today in 1817, the New York Stock Exchange is founded. A couple of things happened today in 1913. The IRS begins to levy and collect income taxes. And the Federal League organizes with 6 teams, including the Chicago Whales, who played at what's now Wrigley Field. The league folded after 3 seasons.
The Whales?
The Chicago Whales. All those Lake Michigan whales that are out there.
I was going to say.
Kind of like the mighty mussels, all the mussels we have in Southwest Florida.
I mean, were the bunch of guys fat and we were just insensitive in the early 20th century? I mean, what?
Today in 36, the first stock car race is held in Daytona Beach, Florida. The Beatles made their BBC radio debut today in 1962. Pete Best was still playing drums with the Beatles.
Not for much longer.
No. Today in 71, Frank Sinatra became a photographer.
Yep.
That's because Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali would fight at Madison Square Garden. And Sinatra was the photographer for Life magazine. That's how he got in.
It was the fight of the century. They were both undefeated. Frazier was heavyweight champion. Ali claimed he was still champion because nobody had beaten him. They just took his title away when he wouldn't go fight in Vietnam.
Today in 1996, Fargo was released in the U.S.
Mark, that was the only awkward time during my wife and I's 5 years in Fargo because, well, we thought it was hysterical. And the natives, not quite as funny as we thought. And never forget, listen, every person in the newsroom, Mark, business office, newsroom, because I was the only out-of-towner. Everybody else was from the upper Midwest, had an accent. Then there's this Yahoo from Jersey. Okay, and so they would all, one by one. So are we really like that? Do we really talk like that? And I would look right at every single one and go, yeah, you betcha. It was a very awkward time for us in the upper Midwest. Just saying.
Today in 2014, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappears with 239 people aboard. And it was just a year ago, David, that Aaron Rodgers agrees to remain in Green Bay with a 4-year, $200 million deal that made him the highest paid player in NFL history.
Mark, are these really contracts or suggestions?
I don't know anymore, David. And I asked you earlier and I forgot. Ball 4, pronounce his name, the author of Ball 4.
Jim Bouton.
Bouton, sorry. Jim Bouton would have celebrated a birthday today, as would have Dick Allen and Lynn Redgrave. Those that are celebrating birthdays today, Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees, Jim Rice, Buck Williams, Larry Murphy, Kenny Smith, Freddie Prinze Jr., Hines Ward, Juan Encarnacion, James Vanderbeek, all celebrating birthdays today on March 8th. That is Today Was the Day When. What did I miss, David?
Well, Beavis and Butthead premiered 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
That 40 years ago, Reagan called the Soviet Union the evil empire. That stuck, too. We liked it. We said, you know what? You got a point. Yeah.
Had some alliteration to it. That's always good.
And he did it. Remember, this is pre-Gorbachev. Gorbachev doesn't take over for another year and a half or so. Man, those old timers over there, they hated that. Times were tense in the early 80s. People forget. Reagan was staring them down going, you want to go to war? I'll go to war. Me and Nancy will head to the ranch. Don't care.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Need you to pay attention to this good, David.
Okay.
This will definitely apply to you now and at some other point in your life. We go to Fort Myers for the good, where Alan Smolauer mentioned to his friends that he often helps his grandparents navigate their electronic devices.
Okay.
Turns out he was far from the only one. So Aaron and a classmate, Christian Lackus, formed the Computer Literacy Education Outreach Club. They go to Canterbury here in Fort Myers. So every week, the two of them and other students make a trip to Brookdale Senior Living community next door, where the teens spend one-on-one time with residents, helping them with their phone, tablet, and computer issues.
Tech time.
Maybe I could meet with them when I'm in town.
Yeah.
Might want to schedule one more meeting there, David.
Can you leave their names and numbers for me? Maybe after the show Friday, they could fit me in.
We go to New Hampshire from the bad. The Amtrak Downeaster takes passengers 145 miles from Brunswick, Maine to Boston. There is a car that serves alcohol, but apparently it will not be allowed to serve alcohol during the 35-mile stretch that the trip goes through New Hampshire.
Why?
The New Hampshire Liquor Commission has told the Northern Nor'easter Passenger Rail Authority that the train cannot serve alcohol during the New Hampshire portion of the journey because law forbids them serving alcohol that has not been purchased in the state.
You know, did you ever think it was ridiculous when you would take a cruise and they wouldn't let you start gambling until you left U.S. waters and you had to be in international waters?
Right.
And you'd be like, seriously? We're headed east or we're headed south. We're going to be there in 12 minutes. Seriously? And they're like, nope, can't do it. Not until we get to international waters. Nope, sorry, we're in New Hampshire.
Better order up your drinks. We're about to go through New Hampshire, everybody.
I was going to say, I'd slow the damn car down half mile from New Hampshire. I'd load everybody up so they were 3 deep. Invite the New Hampshire Liquor Control people on the damn train, stand there and go, we ain't serving them. They just all have 3 drinks. They didn't say anything about drinking them. They just said you can't serve them.
For the ugly, we go across the pond where Joby Poole was stopped on the highway in Telford, England, in central England, and Easter was almost ruined. He stole a semi-truck that contained 200,000 Cadbury cream eggs last Saturday.
Wow.
That is one big Easter basket.
Do you like a Cadbury cream egg? I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan either. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't eat it if it was there.
Right.
You know, but I'd prefer a Reese's.
Oh, well, I mean, of course.
No, but I mean, if you're going to put something inside a chocolate, I'd prefer it be peanut butter instead of that Cadbury cream. Doesn't do anything for me. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, March the 8th, 2023.
I'm a little sad. No clutch play today. And I had a really good one.
Oh, you want to do it now?
Would you?
Apparently, it's really important. Go, Felipe.
I need to be okay. Yeah, I need to be introduced.
You introduced yourself.
I was going to say you
sabotaged the show.
Fantastic.
You teed yourself up. Hold on. Apparently, we have to introduce him right now.
Hey, now it's Felipe with the Clutch Vodka play of the day. What do you got, Felipe?
Well, any opportunity to get the captain, number 87, Sid the Kid, Sidney Crosby, on the clutch play of the day. And I am going to right now because he was pretty clutch last night.
The line to the center point, throws it down low, deflected wide by Gensel. Loose puck below the goal line. Robinson can't clear. Malkin's got it at the right point. Into the high slot with it. Across Crosby. One-timer. Scores! The captain completes the comeback. And Pittsburgh, from down 4-0, wins it 5-4 in overtime.
I mean, that's big time right there.
And they
big win for the Pens, bad one for the Florida Panthers, who are trying to catch Pittsburgh for that final wild card spot, and the Pens getting 2 points after being down 4 spit.
First off, Mark, tremendous job with the fake announcer voice there. And Felipe, you went hockey.
I did.
I know. Well done, young man. Well done.
I wasn't going to let this slip.
Glad you didn't.
I'm going to drink an entire bottle of Clutch Vodka in the next 24 hours.
just to celebrate.
Yep.
Fully baked.
I thought I was out. I found one yesterday. I've got one left, and it is in trouble.
My goodness. Okay. I got 5 games involving bubble teams. There could be more.
I only have 4, but go.
Okay. ACC tournament, the Syracuse plays at noon. Will it be Jim Boeheim's last game? Just throwing it out there. But at 7:00 tonight, North Carolina is playing Boston College. They have to win. They're an 11.5-point favorite. John Fanta thinks they're going to lose, by the way. Fox's John Fanta thinks BC takes them out in the first round.
All right.
Pac-12 tonight. Arizona State is right on the bubble. Last team in, first team out, depending on who you look at. They're hosting or they're playing Oregon State. They absolutely have to win that game or they're done. Mark, I got 2 games in the Big 12. Texas Tech and West Virginia are playing each other.
Okay. That's what I didn't have on my list. So, okay. The other Big 12 game I've got.
Well, because most people, I think, have West Virginia in, Tech out. I'm wondering if Tech beats West Virginia, if West Virginia becomes very bubble-licious again. And just throwing this out there, Oklahoma State, which a lot of people now have kind of pushed out, but they are playing OU. They thought they were done playing each other. They're matched up in the Big 12 tournament. This could be the last time these two teams play one another for a while. This could get intense tonight. Big 10, Ohio State, Wisconsin with an absolute must. They have to have it. Mark, here's what's fascinating in that game. Do you know Ohio State's favored?
They've been playing a little better down the stretch here.
I understand that, but they're like 13-17 on the season. They're a 2-point favorite in this game. Don't you have to? Wisconsin's playing for their season. Don't you have to take the Badgers and the points?
Yes.
I'm just saying.
It's a good sales job. David, I think you'd go broke trying to bet Big Ten basketball this year.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You're idiotic if you bet any of these games. But with that in mind, I'm taking the Badgers and the points. So the Heat are home for Cleveland. That's a hell of an early game, right? Is ESPN showing that? No, they're showing Dallas and New Orleans. OKC's in Phoenix. It's KD's first home game. Place is going to be crazy. ESPN showing that? No, they're showing Toronto and the Clippers. That's okay. NHL, the TNT doubleheader. They're actually going to televise these games. Blackhawks, Wings. Okay, I get it. Anaheim, Vancouver. In the States. Mark, enjoy your golf.
Thank you.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only